7 p.m. to 5 p.m. So I just want to be fully transparent with that. In addition, since the board attorney is running late, we're going to be doing the superintendent's report, the student liaison report, and the board committee's report before we go to executive session. The superintendent includes presentations. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Ridgefield Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the administration building, posted on the district's official website, and by notifying the record, the Star Ledger, and the Ridgefield Borough Clerk. This meeting follows the Open Public Meetings Act and the board's policies. We ask everyone to maintain respect, avoid interruptions, and help ensure the meeting proceeds in an orderly way. Members of the public will have opportunities to comment on matters of interest to the school community and on agenda items. Public comment is not a back and forth discussion. It is a chance for the board to hear your concerns. When appropriate and able, the board or administration may respond. Please remember that the board cannot publicly discuss individual students or staff member due to their privacy rights. Concerns about specific individuals should be emailed to the superintendent with a copy to the board if you wish. Thank you for helping us to maintain a respectful and productive meeting environment. Mr. Ishiano, roll call please.
Mr. Morilla. Ms. Absent. Mr. Joe.
Present.
Mr. Ward.
Here.
Mr. Custodius. Ms. Absent. Mr. Grippa.
Here.
Ms. Hoffman.
Here.
Mr. Jacobs.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Then now we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our second meeting in May of 2026. Apologies if this crept into your Memorial Day weekend when we scheduled this board meeting in December. Tomorrow was a regular school day, and we did have an extra snow day unused, so we'll be going on spring break later this evening. We have a wonderful agenda for you to start. We have acknowledgement of retirees. Building administrators will help us get through. We're recognizing staff members with over 200 years of service to Ridgefield just in this community. Some of them work elsewhere as well. We will also be acknowledging our teachers of the year, 2025-26, our education service professionals of the year, and also our teaching assistants of the year. And there's going to be one per building, as well as our retirees. Before I call on Mrs. McGlynn from Shaler, I would like to make a special presentation on behalf of the Board of Education. He's not really retiring because he's only in 11th grade. But I want to take a moment to thank Chris Child this year. He served wonderfully as our student rep. Our next board meeting will be after school dismisses, and so this is it, your final meeting. We wish you well. We thank you for your service. I don't know how we selected our replacement yet. Whoever they pick will have big shoes to fill. On behalf of the Board of Education, we got you a small token of appreciation, a little plaque that reads, Chris, thank you for your dedication, support, and devoted year of service, September 1, 2025 to June 30, 2026, as our student liaison. Thank you.
on, I didn't get the picture. Can you go back? Yeah, go in front of the art.
They're in front of garbage cans right now.
Get Chris and Dr. Adamon together. Thank you. I zoomed in. Thank you.
Now, Mrs. McGlynn, if you want to come up to Shaler Academy.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to start. I have 4 people to talk about here tonight, and I'm going to start with Ms. Floriana DeSasio, our Teacher of the Year at Shaler Academy this year. Tonight, it is my honor to recognize Floriana DeSasio, our Shaler Academy Teacher of the Year this year. Flo began her journey in Ridgefield in 2003 and has dedicated 22 years to education, including the last 12 years she has been teaching kindergarten at Shaler Academy. Over the course of her career, she has worked at both Slocum Schools and Shaler Academy, touching the lives of countless students and families along the way. Flo is the kind of teacher that every parent hopes will be their child's first, every child wishes they could stay with forever, and every school is lucky to have. She is kind, warm, welcoming, and endlessly positive. For those of you familiar with Matilda, she is our very own Miss Honey, gentle, caring, and deeply devoted to her students. She is the only teacher that I've ever met who has mastered the art of commanding a kindergarten classroom without ever raising her voice above a whisper. Her gentle whisper of, "Okay, boys and girls," is enough to catch the attention of every student in her classroom. Her calm presence, constant smile, and nurturing spirit creates a classroom where students feel safe, valued, and excited to learn each day. Flo's dedication extends far beyond academics. She works tirelessly to build meaningful connections between school and home, always making families feel like true partners in their child's education. The parents who nominated her described her as one of the most competent teachers they have ever met, praising the love and dedication she brings to every aspect of her students' learning journey. They shared that Flo helps each child recognize their strengths while teaching them to contribute to the world with kindness, respect, and compassion. That impact is lasting, and it reaches far beyond the walls of her classroom. In addition to the incredible work she does every day with her students, Flo also helps to plan our beautiful kindergarten celebration each year alongside our music teacher. She really helps to create beautiful memories that our families and students will have for a lifetime. When reflecting on her time at Ridgefield, Flo shared that one memory that stayed with her is a time that she had a student who was struggling both academically and socially. Years later, that student returned to thank her for never giving up on him and for the impact that she made in his life. Knowing that he still remembered their time together meant the world to her, and it perfectly reflects the kind of lasting difference she makes in the lives of her students every single day. Flo also shared that what she loves most about teaching at Shaler Academy is the strong sense of community and the meaningful relationships she has built and continues to build with students, families, and her colleagues. For her, the most rewarding part of the job is watching her students grow every day. Flo, thank you for the love, positivity, patience, and care that you bring to Shaler Academy each and every day. Your students are fortunate to begin their educational journey with someone who believes in them so deeply and leads with such grace and kindness. The next person that I am here to recognize tonight is Gina Ann Conowitz as Shaler Academy's Educational Specialist of the Year. Gina has Field of Speech Language Pathology, including the past 12 years right here in Ridgefield at Shaler Academy, a place that she lovingly refers to as her second home. Since joining the district in 2014, Gina has become an invaluable member of the Shaler community, supporting students, families, and colleagues with unwavering dedication, expertise, and compassion. Her colleagues describe her as an exceptional SLP who works skillfully with students across all communication levels while consistently delivering engaging, effective, and meaningful therapy. They have also said that she is the kind of professional who not only supports her own students, but elevates everyone around her, as she freely shares her expertise, offers thoughtful guidance, and is always willing to help others improve outcomes for their students. All of the qualities her colleagues describe are absolutely true of Gina, but what truly makes her special is the quiet, selfless way that she approaches her work. She never seeks recognition or praise. She's actually the first person who I've ever told was getting this award, and her response was, "Oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed." And instead, her focus is entirely on the impact she has on each student and how she can help them to continue to grow. She approaches every student with warmth, patience, and belief in their potential. Students gravitate towards her smile, her kindness, and her calming presence. They look forward to her speech sessions because they know that they are entering a space where they're understood, encouraged, and celebrated. When asked what she loves most about being an SLP at Shaler, she shared that her favorite thing about it is watching her students grow and shine. She feels that it's incredibly rewarding to be part of their journey and to help them establish and strengthen their communication skills. Whether it's seeing students participate in the classroom using their AAC device, hearing them use newly developed verbal skills, or watching them gain confidence to answer a question, each of these moments brings her tremendous joy. Gina shared that she feels tremendous gratitude for the colleagues that she has had the opportunity to work alongside for the past 12 years. She feels fortunate to be surrounded by people who inspire her and who dedicate themselves year after year to helping students grow and succeed. And again, that sentiment speaks volumes to who Gina is, someone who is deeply grounded in collaboration, humility, and service. Gina, your professionalism, compassion, expertise, and relentless dedication has changed your students' lives. You have helped students find their voices, build confidence, connect with others, and experience successes both inside and outside of the classroom. Without your work, parents would not have been able to experience their child's first words or finding alternative ways to meaningfully communicate with their children. You truly remind us all that the most meaningful educators are often the ones working quietly behind the scenes, creating opportunities, building connections, and empowering students one small victory at a time. Thank you for the extraordinary difference you make each day. And over the years, we have had the privilege of watching her grow from a young staff member just beginning her career into an incredibly skilled, compassionate, and dedicated professional who has become an essential part of our school community. Christina is truly a bright light in our building. She brings positivity into each and every day with her kind and caring personality, her contagious smile, and her uplifting spirit. You always know when Christina is here, or even when she's coming down the hallway, because she can be loud in the very best way possible. Her energy is infectious, and she has a way of making those around her feel supported, encouraged, and valued. But beyond her warmth and positivity, Christina is exceptionally talented at what she does. She has worked with some of our students with the greatest behavioral challenges and does so with patience, compassion, confidence, and remarkable skill. She leads with her heart, approaches every child with empathy and dignity, and brings joy into even the most difficult days. She is the kind of teacher assistant you can always count on. In fact, there have been many times where Christina has come directly to me to share that she understands the behavioral needs of a student, and she would be glad to step in as their one-to-one assistant in order to help support them and hopefully reduce their challenging behaviors. No challenge is ever too great for her. Her selflessness speaks volumes about her character. Most recently, Christina offered to move into a more behaviorally demanding classroom so that a staff member returning from leave could transition back to school in a less challenging setting. That is simply who Christina is. someone who's always put students and colleagues before herself without ever asking for recognition for it in return. When reflecting on her years at Shaler, Christina shared that one of her favorite memories was her first field day. She said that it was so much fun getting to experience field day alongside the students instead of being a student herself, because in her words, she's still a big kid at heart. That playful spirit and genuine joy are part of what makes her so special to our students. Christina also shared that her favorite thing about Shaler is the Shaler family, because she truly feels that we are all one big family here, and the feeling is mutual. Christina is such an important part of the Shaler family. While Christina spent so much time impacting the lives of the students she's worked with, they have also impacted her life. She loves seeing them grow each year, and her time spent as a teacher assistant has motivated her to pursue a career in becoming a special education teacher. Christina started as a teenager, beginning her first job, and today stands before us as a respected member of our school community who's making an extraordinary impact on students, staff, and families each and every day. Christina, thank you for your positivity, your compassion, your humor, your dedication, and your unwavering support to provide our students and staff at Shaler. Shaler Academy is truly a better place because of it.
Then if you could, I apparently sat on the opposite side of everybody's family. Thank you.
Thank you. And last for Shaler Academy, certainly not least, we're celebrating and honoring the remarkable career of Eileen Bynum as she begins her well-deserved retirement after 32 years in education, including the past 20 years serving the students and families of Ridgefield. Eileen began her journey in Ridgefield in September of 2006, bringing with her an impressive educational background, including a bachelor's in communications from Cornell University and a master's in elementary education from Teachers College, Columbia University. But while her credentials are certainly impressive, what has always stood out most about Eileen is not simply what she knows, it's the kindness, compassion, and generosity she brings to everything she does. For 2 decades, Eileen has been a constant source of support, innovation, and care throughout the district. Many know her as the beloved technology teacher at Shaler Academy and Bourbon Boulevard School, where she has helped our youngest learners to develop foundational technology skills long before many children even knew how to navigate a keyboard or a device. In recent years, she even introduced coding opportunities to students as young as kindergarten, challenging them to think creatively, problem solve, and develop skills that will serve them for years to come. But Eileen's impact reaches far beyond the classroom. She has always been someone willing to lend a helping hand, whether that meant stepping into a classroom so a teacher could quickly step out, using her own prep time to troubleshoot technology problems with colleagues, or even driving in the opposite direction of her home commute to help a colleague get home when needed. Those acts of kindness may seem small in the moment, but they speak volumes about what kind of person Eileen is. During the COVID era, Eileen became an absolute lifeline for the district. At a time where teachers, students, and families were suddenly thrust into virtual learning, she worked tirelessly behind the scenes to help ensure that everyone was up and running, everybody had their Google Classroom set up, they could figure out the virtual instruction platform, and any new technologies that they had never used before. She was an absolute godsend to all of our teachers and some of the administrators too, I think.
All administrators.
You remember, yes. She spent countless hours answering questions, troubleshooting, and patiently guiding us all through all of those unimaginable things. Her calm presence, her deep knowledge, and her willingness to help made what was an incredibly difficult time really manageable for so many people. What many people may not realize, myself included, until writing this speech, was that how deeply you have shaped the evolution of technology over the years in Ridgefield, Eileen. When she first began as a half-time elementary technology teacher and half-time technology staff development, teachers did not even have classroom computers or laptops, and the district only had one mobile smartboard. So think about what that looked like. Through her work alongside district leadership in Stavros, she helped train teachers and staff across the district. She helped train central office members about all of the technology that was coming that has truly transformed our district and our classrooms. She helped support the rollout of period attendance systems, instructional technology next year, which is truly the biggest testament to the impact that she's made on her students. As she begins retirement, Eileen looks forward to spending more time closer to home with her family as her youngest child enters her senior year of high school. She's excited to travel, return to running, improve her Spanish fluency, and begin new professional opportunities working remotely as a corporate technology trainer and an online English teacher. Before she begins this next chapter, we want her to know just how much she has meant to the district. Eileen described Ridgefield as truly a special place, and she said she is grateful to have spent 20 years here. The truth is, Eileen, that Ridgefield is really grateful for you too. Thank you for your compassion, your dedication, your brilliance, your patience, and the countless ways you've supported students, staff, and families throughout your career. Your impact on the district cannot be measured simply in years of service or technology initiatives. It is the relationships you've built, the confidence you've given others, and the kindness you've showed every single day. On behalf of all of the Ridgefield community, congratulations on an extraordinary career and a well-deserved retirement. We wish you happiness, health, adventure, and every blessing in your next chapter.
Thank you. Yeah, all the family sat on this side apparently. Do you guys need chairs in back? Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me in the back? Yes. I'm Pete Mastrangelo. I'm the principal of Bergen Boulevard School. It's great to see everyone here tonight. Tonight is my great privilege to recognize and honor an exceptional educator, mentor, and advocate for children, Bergen Boulevard's Teacher of the Year, Ms. Dina O'Brien. Ms. O'Brien began her career in Ridgefield in 2001 and has dedicated 24 years to the field of education. Since 2016, she has proudly served the students and families of Bergen Boulevard School, where she has made a tremendous impact through an unwavering commitment and compassion. When reflecting on her favorite moments in Ridgefield, Dina shared that she could never choose just one, because every day brings something different and exciting when working with children. That statement speaks volumes about her love for teaching and her genuine joy for supporting students and collaborating with colleagues each day. Over the years, Dina served as a Learning Center teacher, working with students with autism and multiple disabilities, as well as an in-class sport teacher in 5th, 2nd, and 1st grades. Her ability to meet students where they are, support their individual needs, and help them grow academically, socially, and emotionally has made her an invaluable member of our school community. She is the type of educator who creates meaningful relationships with students and families while fostering a classroom environment built on kindness, trust, and high expectations. Beyond the classroom, Ms. O'Brien has consistently demonstrated leadership and dedication to the district as a whole. She has served on numerous committees throughout her career, including the crisis team, threat assessment team, and school climate committee. In 2019, her impact and service were recognized by the Ridgefield Mayor and Council when she received the Women in History Month Recognition Award for Education. While her accomplishments are many, what truly sets Dina apart is the care, positivity, and dedication she brings to her students every single day. She embodies the very best qualities of an educator: compassion, leadership, and an unwavering belief in the potential of every child. Her influence extends far beyond academics, helping shape confident, capable, and caring young people who know they are valued and supported. On behalf of the Ridgefield Board of Education, administration, staff, students, and family, we proudly congratulate Ms. Dina O'Brien on being named Bergen Boulevard Teacher of the Year. Thank you for your years of service, your dedication to students, and your countless ways you continue to enrich the Richfield community. Congratulations, Dean.
Just swoop in real quick.
Andy, she turned to me first.
Before I leave, I have two other staff members. Ms. Robin Merkel Walsh was our recipient for Ed Specialist of the Year, and she's unable to be with us today. And our Teacher Assistant of the Year was Miss Linda Taran. She wasn't able to be with us today.
Warren, I heard you graduated today. Congratulations.
Testing. You guys hear me okay? Yeah. Great. Good evening, my name is Tim Yang. I'm the school principal here at Sophie School of Richfield. I have the honor and privilege of the first speech, which is our Educator of the Year. So tonight it is truly an honor to recognize an exceptional educator, mentor, and role model as the Educator of the Year, Mr. Andrew Blascar. Joining the Richfield community in September of 2002, Mr. Buscard has dedicated himself to teaching middle school social studies with passion, professionalism, and an unwavering commitment to students. Over the past 2 decades, he has inspired countless students not only to learn history, but to think critically, ask questions, and become engaged citizens of the world around them. Mr. Buscard is an extremely knowledgeable, engaging teacher who delivers instructions in clear, creative, and interesting ways, whether through discussions, projects, debates, or hands-on activities. He has a unique ability to make history come alive for his students. One student shared, "I believe Mr. Buscard should become Teacher of the Year because he's funny and amazing at teaching, and I understand the topic he teaches when he teaches them." That statement captures something truly special about Mr. Buscard, his ability to connect with students in a meaningful and lasting ways. His impact extends far beyond the classroom wall. Mr. Buscard is deeply involved in the Richfield School community as an advisor for Student Council and Debate Club, in helping students develop leadership skills and confidence and responsibility and school pride. He also generously gives his time each year to participate in the annual 7th grade overnight trip to Frost Valley. Whether hiking trails, participating in archery, or zip lining alongside students, Mr. Buscard embraces every experience with enthusiasm and positivity. Those moments outside the classroom often become some of the most memorable experiences for the students, and his willingness to be part of them speaks a volume about his dedication. Beyond his works with students, Mr. Buscard is a trusted colleague and a leader among staff. Fellow teachers often turn to him for advice, support, and insight because of extensive knowledge of the world history and current events. He's always eager to collaborate, share ideas, and help other girls professionally. One colleague shared that after more than 20 years of working together, they continue to admire his creativity, dedication, and tireless commitment to students and families. And that is exactly why we are here tonight. Teaching is a profession that requires patience, compassion, creativity, and heart. Mr. Buscard exemplifies all those qualities every single day. His dedication to his students, his colleagues, and the Richfield community has made a lasting impact that cannot be measured simply by years of service, but the countless lives he has influenced along the way. Mr. Buscard, thank you for your passion, your leadership, your humor, and your unwavering commitment to education. Richfield is fortunate to have you, and tonight we're proud to celebrate you as our Educator of the Year. Please join me in congratulating
Thank you.
Okay, number 2 is right there. All right, tonight it is my honor to recognize our Educational Service Professional of the Year, Ms. Susan Chung. Since joining Richfield in 2019 as a speech therapist, Ms. Chung has made extraordinary impact on our students, staff, and families through her compassion, dedication, and unwavering commitment to student success. Her work extends far beyond speech and communication skills. She takes the time to truly understand each child's individual needs and help them build confidence, connection, and independence every single day. One parent shared that Ms. Chung has been instrumental in helping her daughter not only develop communication skills, but also learn to recognize, practice, and unique facial expression, an especially meaningful and important skills for students on the autism spectrum. The parent reflected that even though only a few in-person meetings, it was immediately clear how deeply Ms. Chung cares for her students. That genuine care is something everyone who works with her can see and feel. As a speech-language pathologist serving a full and diverse caseload, including students with autism and multiple diagnoses, Ms. Chung approaches every challenge with patience, expertise, and heart. She collaborates seamlessly with teachers and staff in the Learning Center to ensure that students receive coordinated, consistent, and meaningful support. Her colleagues consistently praise her professionalism, positivity, and willingness to go above and beyond. One of the many ways Ms. Chung demonstrates her dedication through her work with students who use augmented and alternative communication devices. She regularly stays after school to program, update, and customize these devices so that students have the tools and language access they need to thrive. This extra time is never asked of her. She gives it freely because she believes wholeheartedly in her students' ability and potential. Beyond the classroom, Ms. Chung is deeply invested in the Richfield community, whether helping set up for the Learning Center graduation, volunteering at the ice cream social, or attending the music shows to cheer on students. She's always there, not for recognition, but because she genuinely cares about the students and families she serves. Her colleagues describe her as someone who comes to work each day with a full heart and ready to give. Even on the most challenging days, she leads with gratitude, resilience, grace, and positivity. She's the first to offer help to others, whether professionally or personally, and she consistently models kindness, integrity, and compassion in everything she does. Ms. Chung's impact reaches far beyond speech therapy sessions. She gives students a voice, confidence, and connection. She gives families resilience and hope, and she gives our school community an example of what true dedication and service looks like. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Susan Chung, our educational
Hi, good evening. Excuse me. My name is Annabelle Gonzalez, and I'm the supervisor of instruction for Social Schools and Learning Center. Tonight, I have the pleasure of addressing someone who likes to stay behind the scenes. So I am going to announce the Teacher Aide of the Year, Miss Lori Griffin. To know Lori, you know that she prefers to stay behind the scenes, and she stays away from the limelight. So I'm going to kind of keep it short and sweet because I know she doesn't like that attention. I'm staring right at you. Miss Lori Griffin has been a valued member of the Slocum Schools Learning Center family for many years, and she continues to be an incredible asset to our school community for countless reasons. As a Learning Center lead TA, she consistently demonstrates kindness, patience, and flexibility. and a great willingness to help in any capacity in any classroom. Lori approaches every student with dignity. That's her big thing. She's like, we have to show them dignity and respect. Always seeing their potential and supporting them in meaningful ways. Not only does she support the students, but she goes far and beyond the expectations of her roles, assisting the staff as well daily. We really appreciate that. She makes a lasting impact on the entire Learning Center. From my very first day at the Slocum Learning Center, I shared the starfish story. You could probably come to the Learning Center and you'll see starfish in every classroom. Teachers will have them. Related services will have them. We have them in the staff room. Excuse me, allergies. The starfish story is about a young boy who throws stranded fish back into the ocean, one at a time, reminding them that they make a difference even that one. Only one makes a great difference. Miss Griffin embodies the message of the story each and every day. She's truly our Learning Center's thrower of starfish, making a difference in the lives of every student and the staff she encounters. Her compassion, dedication, and selflessness do not go unnoticed. Teacher Assistant of the Year is a title that is not only fitting, but also one that she truly earned and deserves. We appreciate all you do for the Learning Center. You're my right-hand girl, you know it, and it's well-deserved, so congratulations.
You're like a celebrity on the red carpet.
Next, I have the honor of recognizing our retiree, our TA, Julita Borsalino. Miss Julita has been a treasured member of the Slocum Schools Learning Center family as well for many, many years, sharing her kindness, her joy, and her compassion with both students and staff alike. Throughout her time at the Learning Center, Miss Julita has consistently maintained a positive attitude. She's brought warmth and laughter wherever she goes. She has the best personality wherever she goes. Throughout her time, she is well known for her generosity, always super sweet, very giving, her playful spirit, and the ability to build meaningful connections with our students. She consistently maintains a positive attitude, and she goes wherever she's asked. Super flexible. No matter the classroom assignment or student need, we can always count on Miss Julita to walk in with a smile, a joke, and a willingness to help in any way possible. Her flexibility, caring nature, and big heart have made a lasting impact on the entire school community. Students and staff alike have benefited from her optimism and her uplifting presence every day. Miss Julita's compassion and joyful energy will truly be missed. You do bring a smile to everyone's face in the Learning Center. As she begins her retirement, we thank her for the love and the positivity that she's brought to Slocum Schools Learning Center, and we wish her well in her next journey.
Good evening, and I have the pleasure tonight, we're here to celebrate someone who's dedicated over 3 decades of her life to education and to the students and families of Richfield, Ms. Michelle Mariani. Michelle began her career in Richfield in 1995, and after 31 years in education, she is officially closing an incredible chapter at the end of this school year. Over these years, she has worked in several of our schools, including Shaler, Bergen, and Slocum, teaching in self-contained, resource, and in-class support settings. Along the way, she earned a degree in psychology from Rutgers University and a master's in education from William Patterson University. Now surviving 31 years in education is impressive enough, but surviving 9 superintendents and 5 principals, that may be Michelle's greatest accomplishment of all. Through her career, Michelle has been the kind of educator who finally made a difference every single day. She built relationships with students, supported families, worked alongside colleagues who became lifelong friends. One of the things Michelle shared was how lucky she feels to have such amazing colleagues throughout her journey. And I think all of us here would say we were equally lucky to have worked with her. The students leave an impact on us just as much as we leave one on them. And knowing Michelle, I know that she, no doubt, made more than just a small difference in the lives of countless children over the years. When asked what she will miss most about Slocum, her answer perfectly captures the relationship she built here. She said she'll miss the lunchtime therapy sessions with friends. And honestly, anyone who has worked in a school knows those lunch conversations often get us through the day. As for retirement, Michelle plans to keep busy, stay healthy, and travel, all well-deserved. Michelle, thank you for your dedication, your humor, your compassion, and your 31 years of service to Richfield community. Education is not an easy field or profession, and it takes a special kind of person to give so much of themselves to students year after year. Your impact will continue long after this school year ends. On behalf of everyone here tonight, congratulations on your retirement. We wish you health, happiness, new adventures, and many relaxing lunches ahead. Thank you.
Congratulations, everybody. I'm here to proudly talk about Ms. Jackie Battagliano. On retirement from Richfield. Just a quick story before I start. About 25 years ago, Jackie and I went to a math workshop together, which Jackie found to be, we'll say, subpar. She was not too happy. The next day, Jackie comes to me and says, Mike, I have a really great idea. I said, me and you should start a company together, and we'll go out and give PD sessions to people in New Jersey. The person that came yesterday, we paid a lot of money to, and we could get that money. We can do a lot better job than he did. So I was not as enthusiastic or confident with that idea, so needless to say, it didn't happen. But over the last 25 years, Jackie has not missed an opportunity to remind me of what I missed. So, I'm very happy that you're retiring. I hope we can put to rest the idea of our PD company. So, give me my glasses. So, I was very excited when Mr. Yang asked me if I'd like to say a few words about Jackie Battagliano. Ms. Battagliano is known to all of her students, past and present, as Ms. B. She began her journey in Richfield in the year 2000, actually the same year that I started, and we worked together in the math department over that time. Throughout the past 25 years, Ms. B and myself have had many exciting conversations about math, specifically Ms. B's passion for teaching math to young children. She's always looking for ways to make teaching fun and meaningful. Ms. B earned her bachelor's degree from Felicia University, her master's from Montclair State, and her supervisor's certificate from Caldwell University. While those accomplishments are impressive, what truly defined her career was the passion and heart that she brought to teaching every day. As a math teacher myself, I always enjoyed observing Ms. V's classroom as she usually approached the topic in a way that I had not considered. Her main goal for teaching math is to have the students understand the why, not just give the correct answer. Math is filled with shortcuts and formulas where students can simply plug in numbers to arrive at an answer. This is a big no-no in Ms. V's classroom. She didn't want her students to just tell her that 2 + 2 = 4. She wants them to understand why 2 + 2 = 4 and then to show her why by using multiple methods. While we're on the topic of math, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up decimals. Ms. V is not going to like how I say this, but when most normal people say a decimal, such as 0.5 or 0.74, this is incorrect in Ms. V's classroom. From day one in Ms. V's classroom, students are required to properly verbalize decimals. 0.5, does anybody know what 0.5 is? 0.5 is 5/10, and 0.74 is 74/100. This attention to detail helps students build strong conceptual understandings, which led to her students consistently demonstrating a strong understanding of the curriculum. For 25 years, Slocum was more than just a workplace. It became her second home. Ms. V created countless memories with students and staff, including trips to Boston and Philadelphia with the 8th grade, and going to Frost Valley with the 7th grade. Just last week, Ms. V successfully ran her last Frost Valley trip. Running a 3-day overnight trip requires a lot of time, preparation, fundraising, and organization. All of her trips ran without issue because of her attention to details. Ms. V is also very giving of her personal time and money. If there was a town football game in Lyndhurst, Ms. V was there. If a student was asking for money for a cheerleading fundraiser, she was the first to give. A few years ago, when nobody wanted to coach the middle school girls volleyball team, Ms. V stepped up at the last minute and took the job. Through her actions, Ms. V built strong relationships with students, and she has a gift for helping children feel confident in themselves, both inside and outside of the classroom. One of her favorite moments each year is during the holiday season when she reads heartfelt notes from students thanking her for helping them learn and grow. These messages remind her of how meaningful her work truly is. As she begins retirement, she is looking forward to traveling with her family and spending more time with her 4 grandchildren. While she is excited for this next chapter, she shared that she will deeply miss the children, her colleagues, and the special moments that make Slocum feel like a family. Ms. V leaves behind a legacy of dedication, compassion, and excellence. In her own words, she leaves with a full heart and a lifetime of stories and memories. Ms. V, thank you for your hard work with the children of Ridgefield, your friendship, and for your 25 years of service to the students of Ridgefield. You gave your all every day for the children of this community. Your impact on students, families, and colleagues will never be forgotten. Congratulations on your retirement, and we wish you nothing but happiness, good health, and amazing adventures ahead.
Today we're gathered to celebrate an extraordinary educator, artist, colleague, and friend, Miss Virginia McNamara. Miss McNamara began her journey in education in September of 1994 here in Ridgefield, but her dedication to teaching spans an incredible 42 years. Before joining Ridgefield School, she spent 10 years in private school education, teaching pre-K 3 years old and art from kindergarten through 8th grade. She then devoted the next 32 years to the students and families of Ridgefield, teaching art to students from Learning Center, as well as general art education from kindergarten through high school. Throughout her years in Ridgefield, Ms. McNamara worked in all the buildings. From 1994 through 2025, she also dedicated every summer teaching art in the Learning Center across all 4 buildings. working with students from pre-K through age 21. Her impact on this district reaches far beyond the classroom walls. One of the lasting legacy Ms. McNamara leaves behind can be seen every day at Slocum schools. She proudly oversaw the creation of the murals completed by each graduating class, giving students the opportunity to leave their artistic mark on the schools, creating a tradition that will continue to inspire future generations. When asked what inspired her to become an educator, Ms. McNamara shared that it was the joy of sharing creativity with others, giving students the same happiness and sense of accomplishment that she herself experienced through creating art. And anyone who has seen Ms. McNamara teach knows exactly how true that is. Her favorite memories include working at Bergen Boulevard with the kindergarten students and learning center students, watching children try something new, discover their talents, and being with pride when completing a project. Those moments became the heart of her career. Ms. McNamara often says that what she will miss most are her students, especially those magical moments when a student finally understands a lesson or masters a new technique. That spark of confident joy on the child's face means everything to her. She will also miss her wonderful colleague, Mr. Mulholland, with whom she shared countless artistic ideas, encouragement, and friendship over the years. For Ms. McNamara, teaching was always about more than art. It was about connection, encouragement, patience, and helping students believe in themselves. She truly made a difference in Richfield schools by sharing not only her love of art, but also her kindness, support, and love of life itself. As Ms. McNamara begins this well-earned retirement, she looks forward to spending more time with her family, especially her sisters and her granddaughter, creating art, exploring new adventures, and making even more wonderful memories together. Ms. McNamara, thank you for your 42 years of dedication, creativity, compassion, and service. And thank you for inspiring generations of students and leaving a lasting mark on the Richfield community. Your artwork may hang on walls, but your true masterpiece is the countless lives you touch along the way. Congratulations, Ms. McNamara, and best wishes on your retirement. Speech for Slocum. I don't know if you guys heard, we're losing about 200 years of experience. I think 150 of them are from Slocum, which makes me really sad. So here's the last one, Miss Suzanne Golden's retirement. Marks the close of an incredible 38-year career in education and nearly 4 decades of dedicated service to the Richfield community. Since beginning her journey in Richfield in the fall of 1988, Ms. Golden has inspired children, built meaningful relationships, and created lasting memories for generations of students and family. Throughout her care, Ms. Golden served the students and families of both Slocum and Bergen with dedication and heart. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree from University of Rhode Island and her Master of Arts degree from Montclair University. But her greatest impact was never defined by diplomas or degrees. It was reflected in the compassion, enthusiasm, and unwavering commitment she brought to children each and every day. Ms. Golden often shared how much she loved working with students and watching their sense of wonder and curiosity grow. One of her favorite memories was bringing a well-known children's author, Lauren Tarshish, and Dan Gutmore to visit our students, creating an experience that many children still remember today. She also spoke proudly about teaching multiple generations within the same families, something that truly reflects the deep connection she built throughout the Richfield community. On a personal note, Ms. Golden was also my mentor when I started as a teacher. Like so many others, I benefited from her guidance and encouragement and wisdom. She always knew how to support people while challenging them to become better educators and better people. Her impact reaches far beyond our classroom because she helped shape so many colleagues along the way. I have fond memories of her kindness she showed me personally, from inviting me to dinner with her family and making me feel truly welcome, and she makes a really mean meatloaf, to sitting with me and helping me prepare interview questions as I began my journey into administration. Those moments mean more than she probably realized, and they're examples of the genuine care and generosity that has always defined who she is. What makes Ms. Golden's career especially remarkable is how she balanced being a highly effective educator while also being, in her own words, a marvelous mom. She gave so much of herself to this community and stood up for what she believed was right, embraced challenges, and always kept students at the center of her work. While she says she's looking forward to retirement and no longer having to watch the clock every day, we know she will deeply miss the day-to-day moments with colleagues and the smile of the children she cared for so much. And the truth is, we will miss her just as much. Ms. Golden, thank you for your 38 years of dedicated service, leadership, compassion to the Ridgefield community. Thank you for the lives you touched, the memories you created, and the examples you set for all of us. Your legacy will continue through the countless students, families, and educators you inspired throughout your career. Congratulations on your retirement, and we wish you nothing but happiness, health, and joy in this next chapter of your life.
I tried really hard not to. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vanessa Martinier, Assistant Principal at Ridgefield Memorial High School. I guess it really is 6 degrees of separation, or a small world, because I'm sitting in the back and I heard Dan Gutmore's name, and I did 3 degrees at Seton Hall over a course of about 10 or 11 years. We won't talk about the dollar amount, but Dan Gutmore was one of my mentors at Seton Hall, so there's always a connection. We're only a few steps away from each other in this small world, right? So again, first I'd like to start and congratulate all the educators who have been recognized thus far tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. To them. It's my honor and privilege to recognize 3 exceptional staff members for the high school this evening. The first honoree for RMHS is Mr. Brian Sansanelli. Mr. Sansanelli, what can I say, is a consummate professional. Brian is always approachable, dedicated, and open to assisting any and all students. His door is always open for extra help in the mornings after school. He has grown the Saturday Happenings program and has broadened the experience for so many young Ridgefield community members, their families, and others over 2 decades. His influence is far-reaching, and his energy is very contagious. Some highlights for Brian's career. We're talking about longevity tonight for everyone. He started at RMHS in 2004 and has taught math at the high school for 22 years. Very impressive. He's helped so many students through Algebra 1 courses, Algebra 2 courses, and also geometry. Our seniors who, maybe they get senioritis in October through college math, and several test prep classes also with his colleagues. He was also the SAC School Age Child Care Director, and I always spoke about the Saturday Happenings program, which all of you know. He is also a mentor for our district mentoring program, working with the young people, and a response to intervention or RTI instructor. What can I say? Working with Brian the last 10 years personally has been a very rewarding experience. I do sometimes run into him, well, now that he's moved, but I used to run into him at Whole Foods and his sons. So again, always familiar faces. Brian, what can I say? It's well recognized tonight for all of your service and dedication. Please come up, let's congratulate Mr. Brian. The second educator I'd like to recognize tonight as a recipient is Ms. Jody Hess for our Educational Specialist Award. Let's give her a round of applause. Changing it up a little bit, I tried to rewrite some of the notes or points that Ms. Hess had given me, but I really think it's fitting that I just read her words tonight to you. I promise I'll be brief or briefer, if that's a word. I did teach English. Here we go. Let's listen to Jody's history. I started in the district in 1997, beginning my career at Shaler Academy as a teacher for preschoolers with disabilities. Then I taught a variety of self-contained age ranges, both at Shaler and eventually at Slocum SKUs. In the winter of 2016, I moved to the high school where I taught both in self-contained and ICS settings, and I met Jody in 2016. That's when I started here, so I fondly remember her working with the Learning Center students. And then in February of 2025, I transitioned into the position of Student Assistant Coordinator. Her education. She graduated from Kane College in December, can I say the year, of 1996, with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Special Education, earning a Certificate of Teacher of the Handicapped, as it was called back in the day. In spring of 2006, she began her Master of Arts program in the School and Professional Counseling at William Patterson University in New Jersey. She then completed her degree and took additional coursework at the alma mater Kane, now University College, and earned her Student Assistance Coordinator Certificate. These are her words. At RMHS, I have been the club advisor for the SNAC Club, Special Needs Advocacy Club, as well as UNICEF advisor. I'm a longtime union building representative and the PEP chairperson for the Ridgefield Education Association. She helps secure grant money for membership and organizes activities for all students and families. In her free times, she enjoys spending time with her daughter, and she's a very, very avid reader. Let's give Ms. Jody Hess a round of applause. Third recipient tonight for Ridgefield Memorial High School is Mr. Sokol Kadoreja. He is our teacher assistant. Let's give Mr. Kadoreja a round of applause. Sokol has been the one-to-one for a student who has many behavioral challenges. He is always very positive and encouraging to all of his students, and he has played a pivotal role in his students' progress. Mr. Kadoreja has a calm demeanor, very much so. Whether I had lunch duty with him pretty much every day for the last year, so I can attest to that. No matter what goes on, but he also keeps his demeanor, and he will work with any student, not just his one-to-one students. He remains a professional at all times, even when facing very difficult and unpredictable behaviors. He shows care and compassion for the students, even when they are exhibiting some behavioral difficulties, and always works with that smile on his face. It's very inviting. Mr. Kadoreja helps any student, any teacher, or other staff member, often without even being asked. He is very, very humble and does so many things behind the scenes to help his students and his classes in so many ways. He is the ultimate team player and is well liked by all staff and respected by all students. There is no one more well-deserving of the Teacher Assistant Award at the high school than Mr. Soko Kadareja. Please come up. Let's give him a round of applause. But I would just like to give a round of applause to all the recipients tonight and all of the family, friends, colleagues that have come out to support them, all the board members present, and everyone listening to this recording. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you.
I now recognize Mr. Cha for just giving the liaison report.
For sharing, over the last couple of weeks, our students have been enthusiastically observing the lifestyle cycle of caterpillars in their classrooms. This week, each class has participated in a butterfly release once all of their caterpillars completed their transformation. Looking ahead, we are excited to participate in the field day on June 5th and to put on our annual kindergarten celebration show on June 23rd. For Bergen, during the month of May, students and staff at Bergen Boulevard participated in several meaningful and engaging learning experiences, both inside and outside the classroom. On Friday, May 1st, Bergen Boulevard proudly hosted its first career fair. Approximately 40 guest speakers visited our school to share their professional experiences and speak with students about the importance of education, hard work, and the skills needed to achieve success in the workplace. The event provided students with valuable insight into a wide range of careers and inspired them to begin thinking about their own future goals. We extend a special thank you to Mrs. Cortez for organizing such a meaningful and successful event for our school community. We would also like to extend our sincere appreciation to KPAC for generously donating refreshments for our guests, speakers, and helping make the day even more welcoming and enjoyable for all those who have participated. On May 7th, all Bergen Boulevard students enjoyed an educational field trip to the Turtleback Zoo. This exciting experience allowed students to explore and learn about a variety of animals and their habitats while fostering curiosity, wonder, and a deeper appreciation for the natural world. Additionally, our second grade students once again had the opportunity to visit the municipal building for the special hands-on civics experience. We would like to extend our sincere appreciation to Councilwoman Clinton Haley, Sergeant Greg Anastados, as well as the Mayor and Council for organizing this annual trip and providing students with the opportunity to learn firsthand about the local government and community leadership. Finally, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our classmates, students, and families for the wonderful teacher appreciation graduate table. Your kindness, generosity, and thoughtful support made our staff feel very and truly appreciated and valued throughout the week. The delicious treats, refreshments, and personal touches brightened everyone's day and served as a meaningful reminder of the strong partnership and sense of community we share at Bergen Boulevard. We are sincerely grateful for your continued encouragement and support of our teachers and staff each and every day. Slocum. The end of the year activities calendar dates. Wednesday, May 27th, Move Day for the two RMHS for the 8th grade. Thursday, May 28th, Learning Center Pool Day and Move Up Day. Monday, June 1st, Learning Center Field Day. Tuesday, June 2nd, Smash Burger Lunch for the 8th grade at Slocum. Wednesday, June 3rd, Dave and Buster Trip for the 8th grade. Monday, June 8th, 3rd and 4th graders Field Day at Pool Day. Tuesday, June 9th, 5th and 6th grade field day and pool day. Wednesday, June 10th, 7th grade pool day. Wednesday, June 10th, 3rd grade show at RMHS at 7 p.m. Thursday, June 11th, 8th grade dinner dates. Friday, June 12th, 8th grade pool day. Tuesday, June 16th, 2nd grade students visiting Slocum. Tuesday, June 16th, National Junior Honor Society induction at Slocum at 6 p.m. Wednesday, June 17th, middle school awards ceremony at RMHS at 6 p.m. Friday, June 19th through Wednesday to June 24th, single session days, 12:15 p.m. dismissal. Monday, June 22nd, 2nd grade parent visit. Tuesday, June 23rd, 8th grade graduation at 5 until at 9 a.m. Wednesday, June 24th, last day of school for the high school. On May 8th, our Heroes and Cool Kids gave a presentation on drug and alcohol awareness and life decisions to the students of Slocum schools. On May 12th, our Music and Fine Arts Department put on their annual spring concert and art show. The hard work, creativity, and dedication truly shine through in every performance and artwork displayed. Thank you for showing your talents and making the event such a memorable celebration of music, art, and community. Well done to everybody involved. The athletic department held our softball senior night and our annual recreation night. Players from the 8U and 10U softball teams came for pre-game festivities. They were able to chat with our high school team, warm up with them, and receive a signed ball. We will have our senior night and recreation night for baseball tomorrow night. Our tennis team finished undefeated in the division and league champions. We are the 7th seed and take on Hasbrook Heights, the first round of the state sectionals. Our softball team also made the state playoffs and will travel to the #1 seeded Woodbridge tomorrow. Angelique Bardetos, represented Richfield at the NJSIAA Sportsmanship Luncheon in Edison, where she received a $500 scholarship. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Part of our agenda included viewing the infographic, which was created and sent out in 3 languages that further explains the attendance policy for students and parents at a glance to get more information about how absences are calculated and totaled. There was a discussion about school master schedules and the overall curriculum budget being reduced. We went through a list of educational technology platforms, which were cut and which ones were kept as part of that discussion in order to further help reduce the overall curriculum budget. The principals met with the Business Administration Office and Central Office Administration 2 meetings ago and had apparently subsequent meetings to discuss the educational technology platforms. There was further guidance and updates on the bell-to-bell cell phone ban that as one of Governor Murphy's last acts, provided by Legal One, which is a service that is included in our NJSBA membership, I believe. So some of the updates to the guidance include language about non-instruction related times and emergency situations being in place regarding the use of cell phones and distribution of cell phones. We discussed adding information regarding the bell-to-bell cell phone ban and law updates that will be taking place in September, being added to a Genesis form for the start of the school year, so that everybody is notified from the start of the school year as part of the overall encouragement not to bring personal devices to school to start with. And then we also discussed the school's recent adoption or joining of the Revolutionary Schools program offered by the New Jersey Department of Education. So we are fully signed up and we have access to a platform principals are implementing at various schools throughout the entire 2026 calendar year. In terms of a ban, we discussed the latest updates on possible
solutions for cell phones. The pouches are very expensive, so they most likely will not be the solution that we're going with. We discussed whether any updates need to happen to the code of conduct and what repercussions would happen for infractions regarding cell phones. Do you want me to go into them, because they're kind of still tentative right now? Yes.
With the cell phones, you could go.
Sure. So with cell phones, at this time, there are no plans to change the code of conduct. It would be included under insubordination consequences, and if a teacher attempts to confiscate a phone and it's denied by the student, then that would further escalate it to a second infraction of insubordination following those consequences. The emergency plans, including the emergency blast that go to parents via cell phone, is already in place, so that won't be affected. But they do need to work out solutions for if the school were to be evacuated and then cell phones have to be distributed during the evacuation or something like that, how all of that would happen. We discussed cutting board docs as a program that would affect everybody up here at least, because it's one of the more expensive brand names and we're kind of paying for a brand name at this point. There are other alternatives from cheaper up-and-coming competitors. So one that we're discussing is Ideal's board. We would need a little bit more information from them. They offered to set up various training meetings, but because of our quorum and sunshine laws and restrictions, that may have to be like separate trainings at the committee levels to let us demo and test it out. So we discussed kind of the pros and cons. We discussed what level package of board docs we had, if we could switch to a cheaper one, kind of had an in-depth conversation about that. Then in discussing all of the other tech platforms as well, there was an entire list that was read through, so some of the ones that were being cut were vocabulary, the Math NJSLA, test prep, materials, Speechify, dropping a few licenses for some of the curriculum, SEL platform, No Red Ink, Scholastic, mainly in the weekly readers, Let's Go Learn, Mystery Science, and StudySync were also among the programs discussed being cut. And we did specify that all of them would be a zero exit fee, that we wouldn't get any penalties for dropping those subscriptions. So it's still early enough that we can do that. We then had a very in-depth discussion specifically about Membeans and Linkit, because we heard members bring that up in great length at the last meeting. But those are both being kept, apparently decided at each building level from those principals.
Not apparently, it was decided by the principals.
So it was also asked how long it'll be until we see impacts of any curriculum cuts. So, for example, how long out any cuts will affect our data. And it was suggested that often 2 to 3 years after a program is added or cut is when the data is probably the most accurate regarding those programs. There was also discussion of a new social studies curriculum, which was already approved for purchase at the last meeting, so that doesn't really apply here. We discussed the 8th grade offerings of Algebra 1. There's currently only one section of Algebra 1 offered at Slocum SKUs before high schools, but the committees will be presenting at the July meeting for gifted and talented. There's an AP and Honors Committee and also a Math Recommendations Committee. So we're going to be discussing that further, I guess, after the July meeting. Then we discussed the reduction of classes, which classes would be placed on hold. There was no specific answers given because it depends on enrollment. We discussed under-enrollment of certain classes, that classes need at least 10 to run comfortably unless they are special exception classes. we spent a very large portion of time discussing alternative options for credit advancement, which is like credit recovery, but you don't need to recover it, you're trying to add it onto your transcript by taking it somewhere else and it's accepted here. Several ideas were kicked around, no real commitments or standing practice was shared, so everything's still kind of being explored at the moment. And Mr. Jacobs and myself, Ms. Hoffman, are looking into an opportunity that we heard shared by a former Bergen County Teacher of the Year from another district. So we are going to be undertaking a bit of research to try and see if we can bring that kind of program there, if only a handful of students, not enough to run a class, would like to take an advanced level course. We're looking into that on our own for the next meeting. I believe that is it for education.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Now onto the policy committee report. I recognize myself to give out the policy committee report. The policy committee met on May 18th to discuss the following. Although no policies will be voted on tonight, but for the next meeting, the following policies will be on the agenda. Policy and Regulation 2535, library materials, and Policy/Regulation 9130, public complaints. For Policy 2535, the committee amended the Strauss, what was given to us by Strauss to make it easier to request new books for the school library or in most cases, I assume it would be for the classrooms. Our view was that as long as a book is appropriate for students and suitable for school use, it should be eligible for consideration. For Policy 9130, the committee considered making changes to the Strauss language, but ultimately determined that it would be best to stay with the languages provided by Strauss to avoid creating unintended issues for confusion. Strauss released their Policy Alert 237 that will affect the following policies and will be voted on at the next meeting. Policy 1230, superintendent's duties. Minor updates were made to align with the superintendent's jobs to description policy with the revised NJAC 6A:8 standards, but districts with their own board-approved superintendent job description may not need to use Strauss's version. Policy 2200, curriculum. The policy was rewritten to combine curriculum requirements into one policy, including public access to approved curriculum pacing guides, core instructional material citations, access to advanced coursework, and alignment with the NJSLS. Regulation 2200, curriculum content. The regulation was abolished because its provisions are now incorporated into the revised Policy 2200, which I just mentioned. Policy 2411, career education and academic counseling. The policy was rewritten to reflect the renamed and relocated code section on career education and academic counseling, including work-based learning opportunities and comprehensive equity plan language. Regulation 2411, guidance counseling. The regulation was abolished because the revised Policy 2411 now contains the relevant guidance and counseling requirements. Policy 5460, high school graduation. The policy was substantially revised to reflect the updated graduation requirements, including certified educator delivery, updated science and career readiness language, individualized student learning opportunities, FAFSA or NJ or the NJ alternative financial aid application requirements for the classes of 2026 and 2027, and revised proficiency portfolio appeal pathways. Policy 5461, high school diplomas. A new policy was created to separately address state-endorsed and state-issued high school diplomas, including the NJSAHSAUA references and continued enrollment rights for eligible students with disabilities. Policy 0162, notice of board meetings. The bylaw was revised to remove prior newspaper notice requirements and direct legal notices to be published in accordance with the new online legal notice requirements, which is a new law that the state passed. Policy 0162.01, legal notices. A new mandated bylaw was added to requiring legal notices to be posted on the board's official website, linked from the homepage, submitted to the Secretary of State, and archived for at least 1 year. If you go on our website, you'll see legal notices, which includes like if the time of the board meetings change, or if there's like RFP that we have to put out, that's where it's going to be. Policy 1643, annual leave. The policy was revised to reflect changes to the NJFLA, Family Leave Act, reducing employee eligibility from 12 months to 3 months of employment and from 1,000 base hours to 250 base hours, while leaving the Family Medical Leave Act requirements unchanged. Policy 2260, equity in school and classroom practices. The policy was revised to include the full NJAC 6A:7-1.7 equity requirements, including language formally contained in the abolished Regulation 2411 to satisfy the comprehensive equity plan requirements. Regulation 2460.30, additional compensatory special education and related services. This regulation was abolished because of the COVID era statutory requirement for additional or compensatory services beyond age 21 expired after the 2023-24 school year. Policy 5561, use of physical restraint and seclusion techniques for students with disabilities. The policy was revised to require the superintendent or designee to report all restraints and seclusion incidents through the student's safety data system while preserving the district option on whether to allow restraint and seclusion. Policy 6112, reimbursement of federal and other grant expenditures. Minor revisions were made to satisfy the OFAC monitoring requirements for districts receiving federal funds. Regulation 6115.01, federal awards / funds internal controls, allowability of costs. The regulation was completely rewritten to meet OFAC's monitoring requirements for determining and to satisfy OFAC monitoring requirements for federal funds compliance. 6311, contracts for goods or services funded by federal grants. Minor revisions were made to satisfy OFAC monitoring requirements for contracts funded by federal grants. Policy 8561, procurement procedures for school nutrition. The policy was revised to align with NJDA's October 2025 model improvement for USDA school nutrition programs, and is required for districts participating in federal school nutrition programs. I apologize for the length, and I yield to Mr. Kripa for the Board of Education Borough Liaison Committee.
I do have a question. When you're talking about the policies,
we're going to, after we complete all the reports, we can.
Okay. Second, some of those, were they recommended policies or mandatory changes?
They were, well, some of them were mandatory by Strauss, others were revised by Strauss, but none of them came from.
Just out of curiosity, the policy about restraining in special ed, was that a mandatory change or a recommended change?
It's a pretty sure it's a mandatory policy. The recommendations came from Strauss SMA. I think there was a change in the code that we had up there in policy.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because is anybody up here trained in restraining special ed students? Probably you'd be the only one. So my concern would be when we're approving that policy change, let's make sure somebody that's familiar with what has to be done when a child needs to be restrained is brought into the conversation. Okay?
I agree with that.
Because if we don't do it, so how do we know what's right and what's wrong?
Yeah, and could we also get the policy, like, that were discussed for the last meeting out to the board members before we, well, it's on the website, so, but you can currently, like, provide them with before, yes, email it to all board members as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and I now recognize.
Alright, so we haven't had a meeting since the last meeting, but I want to say Councilwoman Congleton Haley did discuss what we discussed at that meeting, but in addition to that, just some of the other things that we did discuss was we were going to look at what shared services are possible between us and the town. Also, reminder to everybody, Memorial Day is Monday, the parade's Monday. They're looking for everybody to march. So, Dollar Sisters, let's march. Okay? So that's going to be on Monday. Just a reminder, we also discussed the progress on the retaining wall between the rec center and the high school. We're waiting on an update. Good. Oh, you were put on it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. A little surprised. Okay. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Grippa. I now recognize myself for the Operations and Finance Committee report. The Operations and Finance Committee met on May 18th to discuss the following. Like Ms. Hoffman said, from the Education Committee report, savings were identified from educational technology software or EdTech software. This was one of the key points raised by many members of the public, and I want to thank Dr. Pass and the administration for their work and collaboration in reviewing these programs. The decision to cut certain EdTech softwares was made through a committee process, and the programs identified were viewed as not as being effective or not useful for the students and teachers. So that's how the committee viewed it. Additionally, the committee discussed, like Ms. Hoffman said, the board docs, our subscription to board docs. As of right now, we're paying approximately $15,000. Is that right? Yeah, $15,000 approximately per year for our subscription for the board docs, but we're looking to we haven't made a decision yet about this, but we're looking to use possibly Ideals Board, which would cost approximately $3,000 per year, but as Ms. Hoffman mentioned, we're going to go through a demo process and decide if we should switch or if there's any other alternatives we can use. So a final decision hasn't been made yet about that. Additionally, the committee discussed the retaining wall project. I'm not going to belabor the point. And then finally, on tonight's agenda, we will be voting on a resolution urging our state legislators to address the skyrocketing cost of health benefits. As many of you know, the primary reason why our district and many other districts across New Jersey are facing such a difficult budget situation is the rising cost of health benefits. The current state health benefits plan is systematically broken, and we are urging our state legislators to provide both short-term relief and long-term reforms to address the crisis. And I know this was a point made by some members of the public in the last meeting, and I think we should do more in urging our state legislators and other key decision makers above us to hopefully fix this crisis as soon as possible so we don't have to go through this next year. So with that, I yield back. And then I now yield to Ms. Hoffman for the NJSBA and Legislative Delegate report.
NJSBA membership, I believe. So some of the updates to the guidance include language about non-instruction related times and emergency situations being in place regarding the use of cell phones and distribution of cell phones. We discussed adding information regarding the bell-to-bell cell phone ban and law updates that will be taking place in September, being added to a Genesis form for the start of the school year so that everybody is notified from the start of the school year as part of the overall encouragement not to bring personal devices to school to start with. And then we also discussed the school's recent adoption or joining of the Revolutionary Schools program offered by the New Jersey Department of Education. So we are fully signed up and we have access to a platform principals are implementing at various schools throughout the entire 2026 calendar year. In terms of a ban, we discussed the latest updates on possible solutions for cell phones. The pouches are very expensive, so they most likely will not be the solution that we're going with. We discussed whether any updates need to happen to the code of conduct and what repercussions would happen for infractions regarding cell phones. Do you want me to go into them because they're kind of still tentative right now? Yes.
With the cell phones, you could go.
Sure. So with cell phones, at this time there are no plans to change the code of conduct
It would be included under insubordination consequences, and if a teacher attempts to confiscate a phone and it's denied by the student, then that would further escalate it to a second infraction of insubordination following those consequences. The emergency plans, including the emergency blasts that go to parents via cell phone, is already in place, so that won't be affected. But they do need to work out solutions for if the school were to be evacuated and then cell phones have to be distributed during the evacuation or something like that, how all of that would happen. We discussed cutting board docs as a program that would affect everybody up here at least. Because it's one of the more expensive brand names and we're kind of paying for brand name at this point. There are other alternatives from cheaper up and coming competitors. So one that we're discussing is Ideals Board. We would need a little bit more information from them. They offer to set up various training meetings, but because of our quorum and sunshine laws and restrictions, that may have to be like separate trainings at the committee levels to let us demo and test it out. So we discussed kind of the pros and cons. We discussed what level package of board docs we had, if we could switch to a cheaper one, kind of had an in-depth conversation about that. Then in discussing all of the other tech platforms as well, there was an entire list that was read through. So some of the ones that were being cut were vocabulary, the Math NJSLA, test prep materials, Speechify, dropping a few licenses for some of the curriculum, SEL platform, No Red Ink, Scholastic, mainly in the weekly readers, Let's Go Learn, Mystery Science, and StudySync were also among the programs discussed being cut. And we did specify that all of them would be a zero exit fee, that we wouldn't get any penalties for dropping those subscriptions. So it's still early enough that we can do that. We then had a very in-depth discussion specifically about Membeans and Linkit, because we heard members bring that up in great length at the last meeting. But those are both being kept, apparently decided at each building level from those principals.
Not apparently, it was decided by the principals.
So it was also asked how long it'll be until we see impacts of any curriculum cuts. So, for example, how long out any cuts will affect our data. And it was suggested that often 2 to 3 years after a program is added or cut is when the data is probably the most accurate regarding those programs. There was also discussion of a new social studies curriculum, which was already approved for purchase at the last meeting, so that doesn't really apply here. We discussed the 8th grade offerings of Algebra 1. There's currently only one section of Algebra 1 offered at Slocum SKUs before high schools, but the committees will be presenting at the July meeting for gifted and talented. There's an AP and honors committee and also a math recommendations committee. So we're going to be discussing that further, I guess, after the July meeting. Then we discussed the reduction of classes, which classes would be placed on hold. There was no specific answers given because it depends on enrollment. We discussed under-enrollment of certain classes, that classes need at least 10 to run comfortably unless they are special exception classes. We spent a very large portion of time discussing alternative options for credit advancement, which is like credit recovery, but you don't need to recover it. You're trying to add it onto your transcript by taking it somewhere else and it's accepted here. Several ideas were kicked around. No real commitments or standing practice was shared, so everything's still kind of being explored at the moment. And Mr. Jacobs and myself, Ms. Hoffman, are looking into an opportunity that we heard shared by a former Bergen County Teacher of the Year from another district. So we are going to be undertaking a bit of research to try and see if we can bring that kind of program there, if only a handful of students, not enough to run a class, would like to take an advanced level course. We're looking into that on our own for the next meeting. I believe that is it for education.
Thank you, Ms. Hoff. Now on to the policy committee report. I recognize myself to give out the policy committee report. The policy committee met on May 18th to discuss the following. Although no policies will be voted on tonight, but for the next meeting, the following policies will be on the agenda. Policy and Regulation 2535, library materials, and Policy/Regulation 9130, public complaints. For Policy 2535, the committee amended the Strauss, what was given to us by Strauss to make it easier to request U-books for the school library or in most cases, I assume it would be for the classrooms. Our view was that as long as a book is appropriate for students and suitable for school use, it should be eligible for consideration. For Policy 9130, the committee considered making changes to the Strauss language, but ultimately determined that it would be best to stay with the languages provided by Strauss to avoid creating unintended issues for confusion. Strauss released their Policy Alert 237 that will affect the following policies and will be voted on at the next meeting. Policy 1230, superintendent's duties. Minor updates were made to align the superintendent's jobs to description policy with the revised NJAC 6A:8 standards, but districts with their own board-approved superintendent job description may not need to use Strauss's version. Policy 2200, curriculum. The policy was rewritten to combine curriculum requirements into one policy, including public access to approved curriculum pacing guides, core instructional material citations, access to advanced coursework, and alignment with the NJSLS. Regulation 2200, curriculum content. The regulation was abolished because its provisions are now incorporated into the revised Policy 2200, which I just mentioned. Policy 2411, career education and academic counseling. The policy was rewritten to reflect the renamed and relocated code section on career education and academic counseling, including work-based learning opportunities and comprehensive equity plan language. Regulation 2411, guidance counselor. The regulation was abolished because the revised Policy 2411 now contains the relevant guidance and counseling requirements. Policy 5460, high school graduation. The policy was substantially revised to reflect the updated graduation requirements, including certified educator delivery, updated science and career readiness language, individualized student learning opportunities, FAFSA or NJ or the NJ alternative financial aid application requirements for the classes of 2026 and 2027, and revised proficiency portfolio appeal pathways. Policy 5461, high school diplomas. A new policy was created to separately address state-endorsed and state-issued high school diplomas, including the NJSHSAUA references and continued enrollment rights for eligible students with disabilities. Policy 0162, notice of board meetings. The bylaw was revised to remove prior newspaper notice requirements and direct legal notices to be published in accordance with the new online legal notice requirements, which is a new law that the state passed. Policy 0162.01, legal notices. A new mandated bylaw was added to requiring legal notices to be posted on the board's official website, linked from the homepage, submitted to the Secretary of State, and archived for at least 1 year. If you go on our website, you'll see legal notices, which includes like if the time of the board meetings change, or if there's like RFP that we have to put out, that's where it's going to be. Policy 1643, annual leave. The policy was revised to reflect changes to the NJFLA, Family Leave Act, reducing employee eligibility from 12 months to 3 months of employment, and from 1,000 base hours to 250 base hours, while leaving the Family Medical Leave Act requirements unchanged. Policy 2260, equity in school and classroom practices. The policy was revised to include the full NJAC 6A:7-1.7 equity requirements, including language formally contained in the abolished Regulation 2411 to satisfy the comprehensive equity plan requirements. Regulation 2460.30, additional compensatory special education and related services. This regulation was abolished because of the COVID era statutory requirement for additional or compensatory services beyond age 21 expired after the 2023-24 school year. Policy 5561, use of physical restraint and seclusion techniques for students with disabilities. The policy was revised to require the superintendent or designee to report all restraints and seclusion incidents through the student's safety data system while preserving the district option on whether to allow restraint and seclusion. Policy 6112, reimbursement of federal and other grant expenditures. Minor revisions were made to satisfy the OFAC monitoring requirements for districts receiving federal funds. Regulation 6115.01, federal awards / funds internal controls, allowability of costs. The regulation was completely rewritten to meet OFAC's monitoring requirements for determining and to satisfy OFAC monitoring requirements for federal funds compliance. 6311, contracts for goods or services funded by federal grants. Minor revisions were made to satisfy OFAC monitoring requirements for contracts funded by federal grants. Policy 8561, procurement procedures for school nutrition. The policy was revised to align with NJDA's October 2025 model agreement for USDA school nutrition programs, and is required for districts participating in federal school nutrition programs. I apologize for the length, and I yield to Mr. Kripa for the Board of Education Borough Liaison Committee.
I do have a question. When you're talking about the policies,
we're going to, after we complete all the reports, we can.
okay. Second, some of those, were they recommended policies or mandatory changes?
They were, well, some of them were mandatory by Strauss, others were revised by Strauss, but none of them came from.
Just out of curiosity, the policy about restraining in special ed, was that a mandatory change or a recommended change?
Pretty sure it's mandatory policy. The recommendations came from Strauss SMA. I think there was a change in the code that we had up there in policy.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because is anybody up here trained in restraining special ed students? Probably you'd be the only one. So my concern would be when we're approving that policy change, let's make sure somebody that's familiar with what has to be done when a child needs to be restrained is brought into the conversation. Okay?
I agree with that.
Because if we don't do it, so how do we know what's right and what's wrong?
Yeah, and could we also get the policy, like, that were discussed for the last meeting out to the board members before we, well, it's on the website, so, like, you know, could we, like, provide them with before, yes, email it to all board members as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and I now recognize.
Alright, so we haven't had a meeting since the last meeting, but I want to say Councilwoman Congleton Haley did discuss what we discussed at that meeting, but in addition to that, just some of the other things that we did discuss we were going to look at what shared services are possible between us and the town. Also, reminder to everybody, Memorial Day is Monday, the parade's Monday. They're looking for everybody to march. So, Dollar Sisters, let's march. Okay? So that's going to be on Monday. Just a reminder, we also discussed the progress on the retaining wall between the rec center and the high school. We're waiting on an update.
Buildings are safe havens for all students, buildings and grounds are safe havens for all students regardless of their immigration status and are not to be used as venues for immigration enforcement absent judicial authority. I'm reading through these, but I also brought the book if anybody would like to see the notes or the actual vote counts. I did report them. Resolution 3, The NJSBA believes that in circumstances where direct allocation of pilot, which is payment in lieu of taxes revenues to school districts, is not provided, municipalities and school districts shall, instead of should, consider negotiated community benefit agreements or other legally permissible fiscal arrangements, whether or not said development will result in the addition of students in the school district. That passed with a pretty large majority, I think the biggest majority of all the resolutions. Resolution 4, the NJSBA believes in an equitable distribution of education aid and related support payments which ensure that all school districts have an opportunity to benefit from government financial assistance, and which considers a school district's unique circumstances, including but not limited to circumstances that impact a school district's capacity to raise revenue locally. This was largely in regards to protected areas of New Jersey, such as the Pine Barrens and something specific to West Milford, but that also passed with a pretty large majority. Resolution number 5, the NJSBA believes that purchasers of textbook and other curricular materials should be provided with a wide array of consumer information on available programs and products to assist them in making informed selections. When purchasing such materials, districts should employ strategies that promote the efficient use of taxpayer resources where it is practical to do so. Passed with a very large majority. And finally, resolution number 6, the NJSBA believes that governance models for county vocational technical schools should encourage the creation of advisory structures that allow local districts to review tuition methodologies, long-term capital plans, and fiscal impacts prior to adoption. There's actually 3 different statements for resolution number 6, but all 3 were encompassed in the same resolution, and that passed as well. So only the first one about the ranked choice voting failed, and also we installed a vice president of legislation committee and resolutions. So again, I'll pass this around if any member of the public wants to look at it. It's all public record. In terms of the county, you can look at it and pass it down to them. In terms of county news, Bergen County has their May meeting. They only have 3 meetings a year in person, so that's coming up next Thursday on the 28th. I forget what time, but it's in Elmwood Park. I want to say 7 p.m. I think. So it's the spring awards meeting. 7 p.m. Thank you.
Lori, 6 o'clock each.
Okay, so 6 o'clock if you're attending in person, and 7 p.m. if you're virtual. If you are in person, there is food provided. There is 0 cost to our district. We do not pay to attend. Individual members should register themselves as soon as possible tonight if you have not already. But it is entirely funded by the ELF Foundation, of which Mr. Jacobs is a member. And that's free for us. So there are several awards being handed out, one of which is the recognition of, 10 years of dedicated service to a member of the Richfield Board of Education, Mr. Marilla. So I think that if you're not going, but you are free, you should consider attending in person to be there to support him when he receives the 10 years of dedicated service. Also, I will be there as a member of the executive committee for Bergen County, and Mr. Jacobs will be speaking as the immediate past president and also giving the update for the NJSBA as the president of the organization. So several of us are going to be involved, and we would like your support in coming out to that event. That's next Thursday, again, at Elmwood Park High School. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Mr. Jacobs, would you like to add anything to the NJSBA?
No, I just want to thank Ms. Hoffman for her support, her commitment. I think she brought a new perspective to the relationship between the county and the local district. So, Lori, I thank you for that. And again, come on down. This is our county. And join us in celebrating.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Before we move on to the board comments and resolutions and discussion items, I would like to mention that we're going to move the executive session towards the end, since that's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour, and we don't want to keep members of the public waiting. However, executive session. Okay. Executive session will happen before we go on to vote on the resolution. So you're doing
So does that mean we won't be taking any actions at the conclusion of executive?
See, the board might, and if that happens, you can come back into, you'll have to come back into open session to adjourn the meeting anyway, but you come back in open, you take the action, and then you close. But this way, the substantial amount of the agenda items can get done now, so the board is, the members of the audience does not have to wait, they don't want to hear the very end of the meeting.
So that also means no part of the consent agenda is going to be.
Wait, if we the executive session, if we're doing the executive session before, because there's going to be certain items on the agenda where we might discuss in the executive session. So that was my understanding was that we're going to do executive session before we go on the consent agenda.
Do you have items on the agenda that you need to discuss and close?
Won't we be discussing those items now? I mean, unless they're personnel.
Right, is there anything that you need to discuss on the agenda that's in closed session?
Sorry, can you?
I don't think the administration is recommending executive for anything other than one matter.
Mr. Levy, there's one issue.
I think that requires board action.
I think it's better if you. Yeah, sorry, for just full transparency, I thought the executive session was, the roll call vote for consent agenda was coming after the executive session, so apologies for the understanding there, and so we're going to do the executive session before we go on the consent agenda. So yeah, just to keep, not have members of the public waiting for the executive session, during the executive session, which could take 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to move on to board comments, then public comments on any items. So I now recognize myself for board comments. So last Friday, we had students enrolled in our early college program with BCC who graduated with their associate's degrees at the BCC commencement ceremony at the Prudential Center. And I want to congratulate to all those early college graduates. You know, as an early college graduate myself, I know this is a big undertaking because they're taking their high school classes, but on top of their high school classes and extracurriculars, they're taking college classes. So I want to commend Mr. Romeo, who runs that program, and all the BCC early college graduates. I now recognize any other board members who wish to make a comment.
So this is all comment on anything on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question.
On anything.
Oh, anything, okay. Well then, congratulations to all the staff members who were recognized tonight, and also to the early college graduates as well. I second the congrats to them. I did have a question I think my question is for Mr. Nisciano about some of the sending district contracts that appear on the consent agenda. I'm a little confused, like why there's a separation, and I assume it's probably a similar answer to with the cafeteria, why there was like separate charges. But for example, like the LearnWell, the administrative fee to send a student is significantly more than the actual cost to send a student, and I'm just wondering, like, what does that cover? What does that break down? I don't really understand why it existed that way. So like, this is under K6 for anybody following along. So, for example, it says, at a certain rate, a total of whatever, hold on, I just lost it, a total of $625.50 and an administrative and preparation fee of $2,000.64. So, I'm just wondering, is that typical? Was there some sort of extemporaneous circumstances, like?
I will look into that and get back to you.
I mean, do we often have like separate fees like that for a lot of our?
Not for a lot of services. This one, I knew there was an administrative fee from LearnWell, but I would like to look into it more before I give you an answer.
Okay, it also seems like something similar is happening for Allegro, whereas like, Sage Alliance just gave us one total, like, whole package number. So I'm just kind of wondering, because if that's their breakdown, it seems a bit much for administrative costs. Maybe they got it backwards, I don't know. But doesn't seem,
So
the
for
math
Allegro,
isn't mathing for me.
so for Allegro, it's broken down for ESY costs and then the regular school year costs.
ESY extended school year?
Except the school year, yes.
So there's like a summer
There's
rate and then a full rate?
Correct, yes.
And those students need to be there round the clock, or round the school year?
Yes.
Okay,
If there are IEP costs for that, then yes.
all right, so, yeah, I guess my question is just,
210 days as opposed to 180.
Right.
But they would break it down, 180 fee for that and then a fee for the extra.
because the rate is different for summer.
It's different, it's just most students are not going to school for 30 days in the summer, they're stopping at the end of June. But our disabled students, per their IEP, may qualify for an extended school year.
Gotcha.
Can I make a suggestion? We do get this ahead of time. If you pose those questions in an email ahead of time, he could have the answer by tonight. It's
Well-
just another, I'm putting it out there, just a suggestion, not a criticism, just a suggestion.
I do hear your suggestion. I have been suggesting to the president since reorg, that we get the agenda earlier, because we receive it on Tuesdays. Every single person in town and in the world knows that I'm tied up the entire night on Tuesdays. And yesterday I was supporting our students here at different events, so probably would not have had an answer anyway in time.
Okay.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, I believe that, if we can, like, try to get the agenda, like, the weekend before, like, maybe on the Friday, so we have the weekend to review it. That's just my
The
view.
weekend would be great.
Yeah, that's just my view, and anybody wants to share. Anyone else seek recognition? Ms. Hoffman?
I also just had a question about what services sports meds provide, because I thought we had one athletic trainer in the district, a man named Dan, I think.
Yes.
And I thought he was one of our employees, so I'm just kind of seeking like clarification for what they provide. Do they pay his salary, or like I'm a little confused what the contract is for in terms of sports med. That's a good question. It was one of the K11, thank you. I see that it's a contract and the terms are laid out, and I'm not really sure what they're providing. Or if it even has anything to do with that athletic trainer's office.
K11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the approval of district school physician and
Yeah,
sports.
this is not the trainer. This is the district position.
Right, so I'm just wondering, what is sports medicine services? Like, what is sports medicine? I'm not familiar with that
I
term
think that's
outside
just
of.
the name of the company.
So they provide physicals for our student athletes. We are required by law to have a school physician. We have to appoint one every year, every school district does. The school physician is also present at games in case there's any emergency.
He's the guy on the sideline of the football games. I don't know if you noticed him, he's just pretty nondescript, he's not in the scrubs, but he's there with his khakis and his golf shirt. He's on the sideline of the football game. But he's our school position, this is separate from the trainer, who's like more of a day-to-day type.
I clearly haven't noticed him, because I thought Dan was the only one who comes, so that's why I was questioning, like, what exactly is he doing?
The
with
students would know
sports?
the trainer Dan much more intimately than they would know our district position.
Gotcha, okay. until the end of the school year, correct?
Correct. We're keeping to schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I also want to congratulate all the retirees and teachers of the year and award recipients. Some of them were my teachers, so I really appreciate their work here in the district. And additionally, now we're going to move into public comments. And this is on any items. We're going to have one public comments tonight. Statement. Okay, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second. Okay. Statements made by individual participants are limited to a duration of 5 minutes unless otherwise announced at the beginning of the discussion. The board urges large groups to select one person to represent them. The board reminds those individuals who take the opportunity to speak to please step up to the microphone, identify themselves by name and address. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by members of the public. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks all members of the public to be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, the board discourages comments regarding students and employees and will not respond to such comments. Please note that after public discussion is closed by the president, no other questions or comments from the audience will be permitted. So, anyone wants to? If anyone from the members of the public?
Good evening. You have to be a lot closer to that one than ours.
Hello, hello? The button or switch on top?
So they maybe turn it off after the.
Here it is. Okay. Good evening. I'm speaking on behalf of a student, Erica Ruiz, 685 Virgil Avenue, Ridgefield. Unfortunately, I could not attend tonight because I could not rearrange my responsibilities. I am currently working toward becoming a manager at my job, and I take those responsibilities seriously. As you may recall, last school year, I served as this Board of Education student liaison, and I approached that role with the utmost integrity, professionalism, and commitment. Because of that experience, it is truly disheartening to see this Board of Education in such disarray. That is why it is especially upsetting that, as a 17-year-old high school student, I feel compelled to address the fact that our Board of Education has not shown the same level of seriousness towards its responsibilities to faculty and students. As students, we are the people most directly impacted by these decisions, yet many of us feel left in the dark. We deserve honesty, clarity, and reassurance about what our educational experience will look like moving forward. Budget challenges may not always be avoidable, but silence and uncertainty should not be the response. Students understand that difficult decisions must sometimes be made. What is frustrating is not simply the existence of budget cuts, but the absence of communication, planning, and accountability from the people entrusted to lead our district. As a senior at this high school who knows many underclassmen, including my own little brother, I am saddened to see the number of programs now at risk, especially when those same opportunities are what shape students for the future. Sports teach discipline, teamwork, and commitment. Clubs give students a sense of belonging and leadership opportunities that cannot always be learned in a classroom. Academic programs challenge students to think critically, prepare for college, and discover career paths they may never have considered otherwise. I can personally say that the opportunities provided by this district helped shape who I am today. And as someone who has been deeply involved in student government, night choirs, sports, honor societies, and numerous other extracurricular activities, I can confidently say that I would not be where I am today without those experiences and opportunities. Through academics, extracurricular involvement, leadership opportunities, and balancing responsibilities, both inside and outside of school, I learned how to manage pressure, communicate effectively, and prepare myself for the future. Many students rely on these programs not just for college applications or resumes, but for confidence, motivation, and community. When programs are reduced, students lose more than activities. They lose opportunities to grow, to feel connected, and to discover their potential. The students coming after me deserve the same opportunities that help students like myself succeed. The Board of Education's disconnect and lack of communication reflects a level of unprofessionalism that I never expected students and families in this community would have to experience. More importantly, it demonstrates a troubling lack of engagement with the very students you were elected to represent. A school district is more than budgets, spreadsheets, and meetings behind closed doors. It is a community built on trust, communication, and the belief that students should feel heard and supported. Right now, many students, parents, and staff members feel confused and overlooked because there's been little transparency about what comes next. Leadership is not just about informing people when there is a problem, it is about guiding a community through challenges with honesty, organization, and accountability. At this point, what students are asking for is not perfection, but direction. We need reassurance that there is a clear plan moving forward and that the people responsible for making these decisions are willing to step up, work together, and prioritize the future of this district before more opportunities are lost. You were entrusted with the responsibility of protecting the future of this district and the students within it. Right now, many students and families do not feel protected, informed, or prioritized. Accountability cannot begin only after programs are threatened and trust has already been damaged. It begins with transparency, communication, and the willingness to actively involve the community in decisions that will shape students' futures. Students are not asking for unrealistic promises. We are asking for leadership. We are asking for a clear plan, honest communication, and meaningful action instead of continued uncertainty. The lack of urgency and direction shown so far has left many students questioning whether their education and opportunities are truly being valued. As someone who will soon graduate from this district, I am speaking not only for myself, but for the students who will remain here long after I leave, including my little brother. They deserve stability, opportunity, and a Board of Education willing to rise to the standards expected of it. I urge this board to move forward with greater accountability, stronger communication, and a renewed commitment to the students and staff who depend on your leadership every single day.
I am a freshman at Richmond High School. My name is Giuseppe Zamorano. I live at 101 Grand Ridge Drive. I would like to ask a question before I begin. That I have two statements. One on behalf of a fellow freshman, Samuel Contreras, who lives at 316 Children Boulevard, and one of my own. And I would like to know if I am able to get both during this time.
You could give the comment, and then the board may answer afterwards.
So on behalf of my friend Samuel Contreras, who is a freshman here, he would like for me to read a list of concerns for him. My name is Samuel Contreras, and I am a freshman at RMHS. I wholeheartedly believe we should cut the MedBean program for many reasons. We, as the class of 2029, have been using MedBean since 6th grade, and we have found no contribution to our writing and literature understanding skills from it. I have seen from other students, heard, and can personally testify to this, as I see no growth in my linguistic skills from MedBean, and see most of my learning coming from genuine practice, such as short writing prompts, literary analysis, or reading comprehension-based assignments. I personally have probably only ever used 1 to 2 MedBean words in real life, and I truthfully believe it is a waste of mine and other students' time. It would greatly benefit the students and even the Board of Ed because it would allow students to focus more on genuine literary analysis forms and provide an opportunity to cut some expenses from the school. I agree that MedBean can be helpful in some cases, for example, in learning specific and intricate vocabulary, but when we do use those words in reality outside, when do we use those words in reality outside of MedBean?
We're going to respond after everyone comes up.
Understood.
Thank you.
Are you reading the second one?
Are you reading the second one?
Read the second.
Am I reading the second?
Yeah.
Read the second.
Yeah, he's gonna read the
Okay. I personally agree with these concerns with the MedBean program, but I would like to focus on a different topic now. Similar to what the other student said, I am very concerned with the budget cuts, and like they said, they are very sporadic and kind of random, and I don't really see kind of what's coming next, and I'm very afraid for the future of this school, just with how unexpected things happen and things go down. I, as a student, was in robotics for the school year and found Miss Kirschenbaum as a trustworthy mentor and inspiration to me and many other students, leading what was previously a non-existent program to become a strong and intelligent group of students through her robotics, environmental science, engineering, and forensics classes. Not to mention the fact that Mr. Cadman, my math teacher, is one of, if not the best math teacher I've ever had in my entire time in New Jersey. To see these two teachers go breaks my heart, but I understand that we do have a issue with our budget. It just doesn't make sense to me how certain teachers, why they would go, or how the news comes out. And that's all. Thank you for allowing me to express my feelings with these messages.
Surprise! I'm Maureen Bradhold. I think you know where I live by now, Sussex, New Jersey. Just two quick things. I want to offer a clarification to Mr. Joe's statement about the early college program. Our high school counselor, Ms. Blust, did nearly all of the work to make sure that that happened, and so I think she should be recognized. And then second, I had a quick follow-up question for Ms. Hoffman's statement about looking into programs for classes that maybe we have lower enrollment on. It doesn't have to happen tonight, because I know we have a lot of business to get through. However, the association would very much like any clarification on that you guys can give us. That can come through district channel, that's fine with us, but we would definitely like to know more information. Thank you.
So I wanted to say to Mr. Grippa, I truly believe that you are absolutely right when you said, look, we should get somebody who does it. When you were talking about their restraint holds, somebody who does it, get them in, because they're the ones, some of them get beat up, man, right? Like, with that said, I think we're kind of overlooking the fact that maybe we should be doing that with everything, right? And look, as much as I love you, Chris, and all the other students here, I get you're a student, you don't get a seat at the table. However, I think maybe some of the teachers should be getting a seat at the table, because, Ms. Hoffman said in education committee, we asked about programs that were being cut. And Dr. DePass said, no, it is, clarified very uncertainly that the principals decided what's cut and what's not. We had multiple students get up and said, I cheat. They admitted to cheating on public record that was being reported. And we had a former student who was a vice president who said, people in my class were paying each other to do it. So obviously this is not a secret that they were even doing on the low key. They're straight up telling us. Maybe the principals who are running everything at a higher level, they're not in the classrooms, they're not seeing what the teachers see. The teachers know when the kids are cheating. Maybe they should be there and they should be part of those discussions. Maybe they should be part of the discussions about the phones. It's very different. When I had a phone when I was in school, if you took it out, you were done. Now, to hear if they don't give it back, it's insubordination. To think, you guys have been, I can't even imagine if I told my teacher, no, I wouldn't give myself a phone. No, it's crazy, because I think people need to be in the room. Just like you said, they need to be in the room. You need to have the people who are actually dealing with it in the room. Not just, and no disrespect to the administrators, but they're not there. They don't see it on a day-to-day basis. I don't even know what menus is, but obviously everyone's cheating with it. But you should learn the bigger words. You should learn the higher vocabulary. It'll help you in life. But you could do that. You could do it with flashcards. And then the other thing is really just, you guys, I know that there's an internal hiring for a principal. You let go of a principal who was very well liked, who did not take the insurance, because I keep hearing how the insurance is the issue. And now you're hiring a principal. I don't understand how that helps anything. Why don't you just move people around so you could save that salary?
Do any members of the public seek recognition? Seeing none, I move to motion to close public comments and questions of the meeting.
Motion. Second.
Okay.
Now that we close public comments and questions, to Ms. Hoffman.
I'm gonna
The
record.
reason I brought up,
You're recognized. Sorry.
okay. Come on, how long you know me? I'm gonna talk anyway. I'm just saying. The reason I brought it up is because we're talking about restraining children. I thought that was a little bit more than taking away a phone. Also, I do not agree with you about the administrators. I've seen administrators in the classroom dealing with special ed.
Okay.
So it's not cut and dry. There's gray areas everywhere.
So if that were
That's
the
what I'm
case,
saying.
you wouldn't need other people in the room.
We're not supposed to be talking back and forth, but I just want to say to you,
The
there are
logic just
gray
doesn't make
areas.
sense
There
to me,
are
but
gray
okay.
areas. Okay? Good.
Sorry, we're not doing back and forth with the public. Regular.
I thought I wasn't supposed to be addressed by the board, but okay.
Any other board members wish to? Does the administration wish to make any comments?
Can I address the question directed at me, or?
Yes, you're recognized.
No, by the public, the question directed to me.
Oh yeah, Ms. Hoffman, you're recognized.
Okay, so, I believe the question directed to me was about clarifying which programs were decided to be cut. So for clarification of everybody on the board here, we were told that a committee meets, that each building has some sort of curriculum committee, and that they meet, the committee chairs, which are the principals, come to central office, already having decided within their building's budget what will be cut and won't be cut, that the individual principals take it back to seek feedback from their stakeholders, primarily teachers. I said apparently or allegedly, whatever word I had used prior, because as part of education committee, we did not discuss any area to be cut. That was all done in the operations and finance committee, which I'm not a part of. And the education committee didn't meet at any point between the preliminary budget approval and then the final approval that was already sent in. So education committee didn't have any say or even discussion about those cuts. They were had in other closed committees. However, we were told that this committee system was in place and that principals were chairs of their individual committees for their buildings. And we were told that they're given a total number to work within. They go back to their stakeholders. There's no evidence provided of any committee meetings or anything, so I don't know how many teachers they surveyed. I don't know if students were part of that or not, which is why I used the uncertainty in the term that I used, because there's clearly a disconnect between the history of public comments here and what these committees are reporting to central office administrators, and I don't know where that disconnect is. I'm just reporting out. This is what was decided and reported to the education committee. The education committee didn't have any decision-making power other than saying, hey, could you just read that list again? I want to make sure I report it correctly. So no decisions were made at education committee level at all. And I hope that clarifies for everybody.
I'd like to recognize myself. So as the chair of the Operations and Finance Committee, who's at the meetings, what was specifically discussed about being like the ed tech programs are being cut. I'm not sure if that's what you're alluding to, but the ed tech programs like Membean or Linkage, like that wasn't decided by the committee members. That's just because we're not the ones in the school. We're not the ones trying to micromanage. Like we should do this, and that. But however, so I just want to clarify that the Operations and Finance Committee board members were not the ones making the decision to cut this ed tech or that ed tech. So I'm not sure if that was what you were alluding to, but.
Right, and I also, for transparency reasons, I just want everyone to know that Mr. Jobe did attend the Education Committee as Vice President in the absence of Mr. Marilla because he was unavailable to attend, and we knew in advance. So he did attend as somebody who's on both committees, since Mr. Marilla is on all the committees anyway. So he, is able to further clarify on anything that happened in the Ed Committee, and that's why when we had the discussion going back and forth about Membean, he was the one who brought up, what about public comments about Membeans, were they asked? And I did not hear an answer to your question about whether students were involved in the decision-making part or how many teachers, but it was specifically asked by Mr. Joe at the committee and was not directly answered.
Yeah, we got the list of what ed tech was being let go or cut, and so you and I, we have the same information with that. I mean, I pushed for the information I got so that the members of the education committee could get it, and we got the list of what was not being continued in terms of ed tech. And I also would like to address some of the public comments. I would like to thank Ms. Redhold for the clarification. Ms. Romeo was the person who was running the early college program when I was in this in the program. So I mean, he did a good job with that. So, but I also would like to thank Ms. Abigail Blust, was it? Yeah, for commend her for running that program. And it was great to see the list of names on the program. I attended for my sister to the graduation. So, and then I would like to address another comment. It was about the budget cuts and what's coming next, and the expectation and why it happened. So, health benefits were significantly rising. I know this was discussed a lot in previous meetings, previous board meetings, and another question, and then in that same comment, the question was asked, well, what's coming next? Tonight we're voting, as I mentioned before, we're voting on a resolution that would urge our state legislators to address this, the state health benefits, the challenges there, and our hope is that the challenges are addressed with regards to state health benefits, but unfortunately, a lot of what's going on with the health benefits crisis, it's not really within our control to address what's. We're doing our best to respond to it, but we can't control like what the rates are. So I did want to mention that, but we're hoping for the best. And then with clarification, I think I mentioned it last meeting. I do believe that there needs to be more clarification with the budget process, and especially if we're going to be in this, even like a similar situation to what we are in right now at next year. I think we need to be better prepared. I think we need to be more transparent and more communicative and collaborative. In my powers, I'm going to try to push for that. I would like. Do you want to address any of the public comments or? No? John.
As a student, I know a lot of people addressing Savannah's comments about the MEME and the online tech that we have, like MEMBeam and Alex. As a student, I know a lot of friends that don't do these topics for Alex or MEMBeam hours. So for MEMBeam, I know for a fact, some teachers do it by accuracy, some teachers do it just by how many minutes you've done MEMBeam and vocabulary. And for Alex, I know for a fact that a lot of students pay each other or do each other favors by, I'll do this homework for you if you do my Alex work. And for the Alex, some teachers do it by 15 a week, some teachers do it by however the total amount is for each marking period. So some students have 90 topics a marking period, which is, I think it's crazy. And I know for a fact, several students do not do these at all and just take the 0. So I think it's just kind of pointless for us to have it if nobody does it. Some teachers have different like criteria for when they grade it and stuff like that. That is all.
Yeah. I'll recognize you in a little bit. That was one of the things I mentioned last meeting about how there was like students paying other students to complete their Alex assignment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Alex is one of the programs that we're not continuing with next academic year. I just want to make sure my notes are correct.
Yeah, we're getting all this feedback from our stakeholders, students, current students, staff members, administration to finalize. We just did our budget 2 weeks ago, so nothing's really finalized for the fall yet. We still have some time. We're in the middle of 2 budget years, so to speak. We're trying to land the current budget on June 30th. That's a big part of what we're doing right now. We're meeting with our auditor to get a good look at our finances right now, because where we end on June 30th is going to affect our budget in 27, 28. That's gonna be our fund balance for that school year, so we're trying to, right now, that's kinda on the front burner. And all these ed tech programs are a little bit on the back burner. We're using them till June 30th, till the end of the school year. Next year, obviously, we have some decisions to make, but we have a little bit more time to do that, so we're trying to do the budget prep stuff right now first. And it's kind of taking up a lot of time, so this is always a busy year for VAs, for superintendents, assistant superintendents. It's, we're in the middle of two school years, so to speak. Like I said, if there was a little bit more time between last meeting and this meeting, maybe we'd have a little bit more clarity, but it was all kind of condensed in there. So we're still working on it. I mean, I think the answer everybody wants to hear right now, but the answer is, we'll share with everybody and we'll include multiple stakeholders.
And I recognize Mr. Bork.
Hi everyone. I just want to piggyback off Mr. Cha, and I don't know what other student it was that came forward about some of these programs. I'm not too familiar myself with some of these programs. However, it seems to be
Microphone.
Talking to Mike.
Thank you.
Lou.
Yeah, much better.
There we go. I just want to piggyback off what Mr. Cha said, and I believe there was another student, don't know his name, about these programs. I graduated here not too long ago. I'm not familiar with them. Obviously, we are taking your opinions and, so very seriously, because we are going to start making probably cuts to some of them. To piggyback off, your question that you had for us in regards to cheating, I think it's a thing that goes around everywhere you go. It's not just Richfield. I think the only way you could prevent cheating is by having paper tests in person. Now, in regards to a teacher, there's only one teacher per classroom. So even if students had their phones, one teacher can't monitor 19, 18 students in one shot. It's almost virtually impossible.
I was talking about the phone policy, like have teachers be part of the phone policy, like you would have someone who restrains be part of the restraint policy, just to clarify.
Yeah, I won't go into that in too much detail. Obviously, we have to discuss and work with that. I'm just telling you, it's very hard to prevent cheating. However, these programs we are going to take a look into, and if this is the case, then I certainly think they have to get cut. Certain ones do, because I don't see any use if Mr. Cha is telling me, along with others, that they're telling us the inside scoop, right? You're the ears and we're the voice for the district. So I just want to let you know that changes will be made.
Yeah, so I just wanted to also mention something else with regards to ed tech programs. We're as a committee, as board members, we're not the ones deciding which one should be cut. And as to my knowledge, these decisions are not being made in the dark room by the administration. Like there's a committee and they discuss. I'm not sure who's on the committee, but I know that the people who should be there are there. At least to what I know. So it's so like the programs that are useful, which are effective. I don't think we cut them as long as they're budgetarily
She's head of the union and she doesn't know.
But,
Is that true?
What? Okay. Yeah. So yeah. And let me see if I have another. Motion to.
I'm sorry, can I also make another comment? I just wanted to let people go first. There was a second question directed to me about low course enrollment. So when I asked about specific sports and specific APs being put on pause because that had come up in the last general discussion of the earlier May meeting, I was told that specific budgets are within those people preparing it, that they're given a total amount to work with, and they have to prioritize what gets kept, what gets cut, and that they seek out the feedback of those stakeholders, right? Similar to the ed tech programs. But when we specifically got to classes, we did ask about the master schedule and what classes, if any, in terms of course offerings would be cut. And the response was, we can't answer that question until we see which classes are in demand. Every year we get classes with low demand, as few as 3 or 5 students, way less than 10. So therefore, the class doesn't run, and this occurs every year, not just on years where we have to make cuts. There are always some classes that don't run. So I was really shocked to learn that. So we asked specifically about dual enrollment courses, AP courses, specific ones that require specific certifications, and we were told that everything is still in flux until final enrollment numbers, certifications are checked for the ability to teach those classes and earn that enrollment. And then that's where we went into the discussion about the advanced credit, whether students could take online classes on their own and those credits would still be accepted if we would be providing information for that. So if a student was part of just 3 students who wanted to take whatever, I don't know, creative writing, for example, then could that be offered at some place we don't currently have an agreement for dual enrollment with? And again, they said we don't have any plans to open up new opportunities at this time. We don't currently offer advanced credit through our credit recovery platforms, but it's something that if board members wanted to do the research and look into, they would consider it. And Mr. Jacobs and I have committed to looking into a program, just so you guys all understand. One of the past Bergen County Educators of the Year, he was a college adjunct, and the college where he taught was a virtual college. They told him they would recognize for every class he taught one of his students as if it was his child, that they could take a class for free. So he taught 3 courses as an adjunct. He was able to send 3 students from his school for a class for free, and they accepted the credits there. So we don't even know if that's possible, but we're looking into it on our own.
Mr. Bork, you're recognized.
And I just want to say one thing. I don't know, many of us are residents, right? We're all taxpayers in this room, I assume. This is a really hard situation. Like, if we come to our senses, 9.9% tax increase. That's just on the average home. So it's not like we want to cut, but there has to be a balance. This town doesn't have revenue, that's the problem. And no matter which way you cut the slice of the pie, if you continue raising tax 10% a year, people are going to move out of Ridgefield and sell their house because you can't sustain that, especially senior citizens. So, unfortunately, we are working with central office. Calvin has done nothing but a remarkable job, and Theo, who's not here with us today, has specifically said it many times. We are going to be very transparent with the budget for the future references because we do want you guys to know what the numbers are going to be like, and we want to be prepared and nothing to happen like this again. That's all I want to say.
May I respond?
Yes, you're recognized.
Thank you. So, Mr. Bork, I agree with you, like it sucks. And I think some of the confusion and some of the student read comments about confusion is that it seems like decisions are being made because the board keeps talking about cuts. But ultimately, we don't make the cuts. Like,
Yes.
we don't have the decision. And I assumed that operations and finance was proposing all these cuts because that's kind of what I was hearing. They're getting the number down, and I thought, how are they getting the number down? But I've never sat on that committee my entire tenure on this board. So I think the confusion is that people believe if they tell us they want something or need something strongly enough, that we have the power to say, okay, let's not cut this, let's cut that, when in reality, we're just approving
Correct.
the recommendation to renew certain programs and not renew other programs, to renew certain people and not other people. And we don't actually have any decision power to move if the spin the bottle lands on you, we don't have the ability to move, we just have the ability to say, leave the room, right?
I recognize myself as the chair of the Operations and Finance Committee. So the approach I took, and I think I can't speak for other board members, but the approach I believe that I took was we're not in the schools, we're not in the buildings as board members. So we're not the ones saying that, oh, this person or that person or this program, that program. And it's like, if we do that, maybe it's there's boundaries involved as board members. We're not the ones administering the schools. So we tasked the administration and this was one of the things that I mentioned one of the things I mentioned, like what in order for us to get the tax levy to this point, what would we have to do? So that was that's the approach I took because I'm not in the schools. I don't know what should be prioritized, what should be up for cuts or reductions. So that's the approach I took as a committee member. So yeah.
To the extent this is helpful, I want to give the board members, just a refresher, a reminder that you're not rubber stamps. You all have authority. Now, yes, you can't administer the schools, right? So you're not going to go in and make day-to-day functions. But through policy, through board goals, you have the ability to help steer the ship. So, you speak out to the constituents. You can get their feedback. You can bring it back to administration. You can come up with some goals and plans to help devise a strategy for, okay, and you started, it seems like you're doing it now. What educational technology, what are some other ways, other than staff members, can we reduce the budget, right? You're getting that feedback from the students. So you do have authority. It's not just, I go to a meeting, I hear administration, and then I say, okay, or I leave the room. It's more, okay, so here's some of what administration is suggesting, but let's now kind of introduce more public feedback. As a board, let's get together, let's create those board strategies and some goals through policies. You can create ad hoc committees. So the board does have authority. You're not here just to sit down and rubber stamp administrative recommendations. So I do want to clarify that for the board and the public, that there are avenues available for the board members to take a little bit more control and say, this is the direction we want to head in. So for whatever that's worth, I did want to make that clarification.
Thank you, and I just want to clarify, there was a lot of back and forth between board members, committee members. On the Operations and Finance Committee, there was a lot of back and forth between committee members and the administration. We did not agree on everything. We did not, as board members, we did not rubber stamp everything. Case in point is during the March budget meeting, the tax levy rate was set at 9.9%, 7.9 if you exclude the 2% rise. Then we heard, then as board members, we heard feedback of residents like that's too much, and it's a tough situation for everyone involved. And we went back and we had to go back and forth about what the district would look like. There's disagreements. We tend to, and then we had to settle those disagreements in the committee meetings. So there's been a lot of back and forth between committee members and the administration, and out of the compromise that was made, that's the budget that we came out with.
So I wasn't exactly finished with my comment, but I'm saying I think the confusion is that people come to the board meetings and they're asking for one thing over another. But if these things are being made by administrative committees and the stakeholders are there, then I guess I'm asking, like, should they also be directing their comments to these building principals who are working within their budgets? If they want a particular sport, should they be reaching out also to the athletic director saying, like, we have 15 people who really want this sport, so that they can make informed decisions, because those people aren't always at these meetings. So we hear, like, sometimes heartbreaking stories, and then it has to go like several layers back, playing telephone, before the people that are working within that total. Like, I view it as like where the, distant relatives giving somebody $300 for their birthday, how they spend it is up to them, what's important for them. And we're kind of overseeing that, did they work within that total budget? And the total budget was what had to be approved for May, which is why we didn't discuss specific cuts at that May meeting.
I don't even know who you go to.
I'm not sure if that's
principal.
If my point is coming across clearly, but people keep saying there's like a lack of communication, and I think it's because different parties are we're deciding the total slice of the pie that they get for curriculum. and then how, like, what flavor of pie you're actually getting brought to your table is being made by that committee, you know, presumably a building principal.
So that's, I mean, you're correct, I believe you're correct with that, and, yeah, that was one of the challenges that, that was happening, and, I mean, it's a balance of like the role of the board members where we can't overstep our boundaries, but however, we have the duty and the responsibility to actually conduct oversight of the district, so, rather than administering, so, support.
To Ms. Brenthold, I think that honestly, the board should start talking more to the association. I do like how you said that. I hope you're informed. I actually, last time I couldn't make it due to work obligations. I work in New York City, but I think we should start collaborating more often. Even though we can't have board members, but we can split up as like you said. And I think that we should be very close because you could also provide us with information, just like we can pass it to you because the rules on the Board of Ed where we can't talk to teachers, it's very strict, right? No one here is just looking to get jammed up or in trouble. So I think we need to start going through you guys and vice versa going through us because we do communicate with central office. However, you guys are also the teachers, like you guys are in the schools. Ms. Vernon teaches Spanish. She also has probably better insights than Dr. Anamone and Dr. DePass because they're in the central office. So I think moving forward, we should schedule something once a month, and I'm gonna email Dr. Alex, Dr. DePass, Calvin, and let's start setting stuff up so we can straighten everything out. Thank you.
Mr. Jacobs.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Joe. Mr. Board, just if I may just clarify one thing. The board does not meet with the association. The association meets with the superintendent and who he appoints. All right, we get the feedback from the superintendent and central office. Then the board makes an informed decision based on that input. All right, what I've learned over the years, we do not cross the line. We do not run the districts. We make sure that the district is run correctly. So I'd just like to get on the record for that, please. Thank you.
What if it's not?
And I will agree with Mr. Jacobs on that. The administration, district administration and school administration meet with building reps and the association presidents and vice president overall to get a feel for what's going on. So those avenues are in place, and of course do have the committees where information is then shared with the Board of Education. Personnel information is confidential, and even if you are speaking to an association representative, you are still going to administer the schools because while they're not maybe the particular teacher in every single class, they are representative of the teacher. So you want to be mindful that the administration is the one that is actually having those day-to-day conversations and getting those updates and then bringing it back to the board when appropriate and necessary.
Thank you. Does anyone else seek recognition?
Yes.
Ms. Hoffman.
I just have one more comment on the overall agenda before we go to a vote. So O11, which is under personnel authorization of summer emergent hiring. That's the reason why I had asked if there would be summer meetings, because currently we still approve, we're not part of the interview process. President Marilla has stated that he would like to be, and that apparently there was a past practice of that in the past. So like setting that aside, knowing that it is a priority of his for his term as president, I just don't understand why we as the board, talking about the importance of helping to steer the ship, the importance of checks and balances, the importance of all of that, why we would turn over authorization of summer emergent hiring when we're planning to have all of our summer meetings. Currently none are being canceled or altered. So I don't think it's a good idea.
We've always had summer emergent hiring. Past practices, it's always been in place because the superintendent needs the flexibility because certain teachers are hard to come by. Math, science,
You're cutting math.
Excuse me?
You're cutting math.
No back and forth, please.
Okay,
He did ask.
if you're gonna
He did say
record,
excuse me.
record.
Rhetorical.
If you're gonna make comments, do it on your Facebook page.
Don't worry, I will.
Let's just confine the comments to board comments and just the agenda.
Gloria, I think,
We hire him.
we really
We
have.
don't hire everybody else. We hire him. That's what it is. We hire him, so we have to enable him to do his job.
I fully intend to, I just don't think we should give him blanket authority greater than that of the regular school year.
Because it's not our authority, it's his. He
If I-
has to hire.
If I could be helpful, this is a pretty common circumstance in many school districts.
We're gonna go to
We need a
executive
recess
session.
if you're gonna leave this one.
We're gonna go into executive
No,
session.
it's my bad, guys. I'm sorry.
So, we have this every year, I don't believe I've used it since I've been here. In the event we can't get a quorum for the July meeting, that would be like an 8-week window. We could potentially lose a candidate for a needed position. It's just, like I said, it's emergent hiring for an emergent circumstance that hopefully doesn't come to pass. It just gives us a little bit of flexibility. If we don't have a quorum in August, again, we're going from July to mid-September. Quirky things happen in the summer, people take vacations, it's just the way it is, so, it's not really that, I don't believe we've used it since I've been here, I don't plan on using it unless, you know, we just have a very, very odd set of circumstances, so, it's helpful to the administration to have it, but, you know, again, it's not really something we would consider using unless there was just no other alternative.
And it is pretty common. This isn't something that's unique to Ridgefield. It does reflect the fact that you're starting a school year and you want to make sure that you have the staff you need to ensure those classes can start and everything is prepared. So it's a pretty typical circumstance.
I understand it's meant with good intentions. It just seems like a very dangerous, slippery slope since the last few specific certified hires. We have had discussion in executive session, so I can't share, but we have gone back and forth, and if this is a standard practice that we, as people helping to oversee, allow, then what's to stop someone from just saying, okay, well, we discussed it in March, we discussed it in April, I'll just wait till July and do it, right? So I'm not saying that Dr. Ananon has any bad intentions and that it's meant with good intentions, but when we start rubber stamping and start extending that authority, that's when we become the rubber stamps. So everything we just talked about puts it in perspective for me that I don't feel comfortable allowing that. I will be here for, you know, emergency meetings. I moved my schedule around tonight to be here because it felt important. So it seems like saying we might not have a quorum in August and that we don't plan to reschedule kind of sounds like a lack of faith in our attendance as a board, which there may be, but, you know, we need to trust each other. We need to trust him to put forth good recommendations for hiring. He needs to trust us to show up and approve it.
Agreed. I think that trust has to go both ways. You have to have the faith in your superintendent too, that he's not going to make irresponsible recommendations or hires in that emergency situation. Keep in mind, you do get to evaluate the superintendent. So nothing's going to be done in the dark, right? Ultimately, you're going to know who is hired with this emergency authority, and you can take appropriate action at that time and discuss it and bring it up. So you always still have some ability to address it if there is a concern that stems from the use of this authority.
And there's also retroactive authority, right?
This is
That-
just emergency.
No, I'm saying, but in previous meetings, there has been where we wanted to like retroactively change somebody's assignment because they instead, you know, moved to a different, the person that they were gonna be working with or whatever the case changed, or that we've changed from a full day to a half day. There's been retroactive where the person was already serving and then at the next board meeting, we were made aware that this would be like added on, but it's already in place. So I don't see the need for this blanket authority when you already have retroactive, you already have emergency meetings you could call, and we do have planned summer meetings. It's not like we're taking a hiatus for the summer.
I understand. The distinction seems to be people who are already hired versus brand new hires.
Alright, motion,
Yeah, Mr. Jones, I'd like to know, these discussions, are they on the agenda, or do we have an agenda to follow?
we have an agenda to follow.
May we do that, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
that's why I
Well,
was,
it's stuff you're voting on.
okay. I thought we were going to executive session. Motion to convene in executive closed session for school board training, personnel, legal negotiations, attorney-client privilege, or student matters items.
Motion.
Second.
Did I get a second?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, be it resolved, do I need a vote for that? Roll call.
Read the motion and then all in favor.
Be it resolved by the Richfield Board of Education pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act that the board meet in closed session to discuss the following subject matters, which are permitted to be discussed in closed session pursuant to the following designated subsections 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Subsection 7 dealing with pending or anticipated litigation, contract negotiations, or matters falling within the attorney-client privilege. Subsection 8 concerning student matters and /or personnel matters dealing with employment, appointment, termination, or terms and conditions of employment of any person or persons, or the evaluation, promotion, or disciplining of employees unless all employees involved consent to disclosure thereof. And be it further resolved that as precisely as can be determined at this time, the discussion conducted in the said closed session can be disclosed to the public upon taking final action thereon, provided disclosure shall not violate the attorney-client privilege, impair the safety and property of the public, or constitute an undue invasion of privacy. And be it further resolved that it is envisioned that the board will return to open session after this closed session meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Will you be taking action when you reconvene?
Motion to close executive session.
Motion.
Anyone second?
Oh, second.
And then,
All in favor?
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Okay, now we're in public session. It is 9:38 p.m. Okay, and then are we go on consent?
Now there's the resolutions for action.
Resolutions for action, approval of the following consent items. Items J1 through R1.
So you're gonna walk on the resolution?
Wait, are we walking?
I just put it in the consent.
Right, it's already in?
Yeah, it's already.
Oh, okay.
Is there,
With the.
I'm sorry, facing my microphone, this one is.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
So we're doing a walk on personnel resolution.
Okay.
The board will be adding walk-on resolutions to personnel items.
The kids are watching from home.
So we're gonna do a walk-on agenda to reinstate an employee. The number will be supplemented in the minutes following the meeting.
That's the motion.
Motion for roll call?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Hishiano, roll call please.
Mr. Boric is absent. Mr. Custodius, absent. Mr. Grippa?
Yes, except I recuse, sorry, on K10, finance.
Ms. Hoffman?
I'm just, there was nothing that I would also be conflicted on for K10. I didn't see what K10 was.
K10 is the dental insurance.
Okay, yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes we have similar recusals. Yes on everything except no on 011.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Morello? Is absent. Motion passes.
Oh, wait.
Wait.
I was trying to interrupt you before you announced it. I actually wanted to ask a clarifying question.
Sure.
Does this consent agenda we just voted on also include the contract that we're still seeking further clarification of with the LearnWell.
Yes.
I would also like to vote no on that one then. Sorry, I forgot we had discussed it and we didn't vote right away on it, so. It looks like it's number 6 under K.
Motion passes with the exception of BOE 11 and P6.
I'll live stream your the backup
K10,
recording.
yeah. So motion passes with the exception of BOE 11, K6, and K10. Three out of 4.
There's not a form without passing.
Right. So we'll just put them up for approval at the.
Yeah, I can't, I have to recuse on that.
We need a bigger forum then.
I'm sorry.
We do formal resolutions or?
We voted on that already.
We do that? What?
Both of us, we voted on.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure. Okay, and then now say okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Wait, hold on.
Is that in the consent?
We added it as the walk-on with the specific employee
It's in
number.
the record.
Yes.
It's in there.
The specific employee number was to be added in the
Minutes.
publishing of the minutes.
Right.
I did just before we declare it adjourned, I forgot to congratulate Mr. Borg earlier, so if you're watching Mr. Borg, I saw you graduated and we celebrate other life events like birthdays, so congratulations on your graduation from your business academy. Sorry I didn't say it when you were actually here.
Okay, let's stick to the agenda, but thank you. Okay, are we, okay, now adjournment, okay.
Second, the adjournment.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, ayes have it, we are adjourned.